Okay, okay. Hold up, hold up. I'm seeing bars. Can y'all hear me now? All right, cool. Hold on. All right, y'all hearing something? Hold on, hold on. Holy shit. Y'all niggas got me sweating fucking bullets out here. Look at my fucking forehead. All right. I have an echo, though. I have to turn off the fucking audio monitor. 1 second. Jesus Christ. Holy shit. Mad heads in here, too. What's good, y'all? Thank y'all so much. Holy fucking shit. All right. And I know why this happened now. I know why this is happening. It was when I did the recording for the fucking update video. Hold on. How the fuck do I turn off the monitoring? God damn it. Shit. I'm not stupid. I know it's here. I know it's fucking here. Here we go. Advanced audio properties. Here we go. Monitor off. All right, cool. We're good. We're good. We're good. Holy fucking shit. Jesus Christ. All right. Oh my God. Thank y'all for bearing with me, dear God. Y'all were bullying me so fucking hard. Oh shit. What a way to come back. That shit was funny. Oh God. Holy shit. Damn, chat was exploding. I was not reading a word any of y'all niggas said. I apologize. Oh my goodness. All right, let me see what I got. Jesus Christ. All right. Yo, what's good, Dubs? Good to see you. I ain't seen your ass in a minute, man. Good to see you, man. Guess what about what, Max? Oh man, Speedy Aquas, I see you. Alden, I see you. Thanks for coming through. You gotta step out, no worries. Appreciate you stopping by. We got Zoe, we got Panther, we got Shupa Mustache. Oh, fucking A, man. Good to see everybody. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Max with the resub yet again. Thank you so much, man. That's, hold on, how many fucking months? How many months are you in again? 6 months. Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, the new badge. You got the fucking badge now. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Holy, wait. Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Holy shit. I'm scared now. I'm like 8 times confused. I can't even sink in. I ain't got the music in my ears. Jesus Christ, I'm still catching up here. Fucking A. Oh my God. But what's good, y'all? Jesus Christ. That's what you meant by guess what? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Why is my do I need new lights? Y'all see how fucked up the green screen is here? Let me see if I can fix that while I'm thinking about it. Hold on. Everything's a fucking mess today. I got so much shit to handle. It's not even funny, dude. You're green and yellow. Yeah, I shouldn't be. This is an issue. Can I? No, it'll be on my camera source. So here, should be able to adjust that. Makes sense. Yeah. It's better than what it was. Better than what it was. Alright, cool, whatever. I'll hold that. God almighty. Alright. Oh my goodness. Woo! God damn, so many people here, dude. Jesus Christ. What's good, y'all? Oh my goodness. Good to see you, man. Good to see everybody. No gaming today. No gaming today, Tregalia. We're just gonna be chilling. That was yeah, no, I guess I should catch y'all up to speed for a little bit. Well, no, we might play a little bit of stuff, but it'll be purely like fucking it'll be purely just like shit that I can just dupe it up a deep it up a good schmirk while I talk to y'all. Like it's not gonna be like the main fucking the main playthrough. The main playthrough, which is still A-Rap, we're gonna pick that up tomorrow and Tuesday. I should be able to do it longer tomorrow than Tuesday. Because tomorrow's Labor Day, but effective now moving forward, Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm going to be working during the normal time slot where I would start streaming, but I can still get a stream in those days. So those are going to be later in the day. I have a new schedule posted up in the Discord. I'm going to try to have it accessible in the chat via Firebot on the Twitch page. I have it up on the YouTube page now. It's pretty. I'm going to try to make it more accessible. But holy shit, dog. So since the mic was down, y'all didn't hear my fucking Shupa fucking mustache. Jesus Christ. Thank you so much for the resub, dude. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I'm gonna catch y'all up. I'm gonna catch y'all up with shit in a second. That's on my line of thinking here. I gave the update video, but I'm just gonna chat for a minute because that's the whole purpose of me doing these streams now, or at least this category of streams. Hold on. RB use Game Maker? No. I've wanted to use Game Maker for a while. I probably still will like dick around in it here and there just to learn shit, or at least at some point. But I think, and this goes into, we're gonna, you know what? I'll get back to you on that, Speedy. I want to talk about just more about, you know, my what the moves are going to be moving forward in terms of the development goals and stuff like that. We're going to get into all of that. It's going to be, I'm going to catch all up to speed on the ARB plans and whatnot. Also, Trigal, you said green and yellow. You don't mean now, right? I hope not. It's not showing the tier 3 badge. I can't see. Actually, yeah, even on the Firebot end, I'm only seeing your mod badge and your founder's badge and your TwitchCon badge. I'm not seeing anything else. I think isn't the order set by the individual, or is that channel based? I'm not sure. A bit yellow in face, not sure as you're like. It's probably, actually no. I have a I changed my color correction because if I don't have it, I literally just look like a piece of burnt fucking charcoal. Like it's either have actual fucking brown color, like proper pigmentation. Because if this is what I look like in real life, like with the camera off, no color correction, it just like the darkness that's in the room because I don't have good lighting in here is made dramatically worse. So I have to fix that. Can't wait for the run to end so I can say, and that's a wrap. Oh god, it's we're going to come up on the close of that pretty quickly. Actually, I can't imagine that taking more than 2 or 3 more episodes. How are things lately? Things have been they've been all right. They've been all right. I've just been tired of shit, dude. Like truthfully, I've been dealing with this a bunch of shit in my personal life that I've been processing here and there. And I first took off a point where I was like, you know what? I think I should just take a couple days to handle that. And then in handling that, I realized, oh, in general, I'm tired as shit. And I realized that a lot of that tiredness has been stemming from me sort of having this very, very active balls to the wall, like every spare second that I spend not in school or not at work is on shit with the stream, or at least thinking about it. And like I realized, oh shit, that ain't healthy. So I just was out. I stayed in the cut, and I remained in the cut until I knew for a fact that I would feel better about things, at least for a good amount of time. And like, you know, I struggle with like waves of productivity and waves of just slowing down. Maybe it's autism, maybe it's bipolar, maybe it's Maybelline. In any case, it's something that I have to manage in, you know, bursts and be flexible with if my intention is to be a public figure like this to a certain extent. So I tried to listen to that and remember take time out every now and then. I'm learning that, Trigali. I'm learning that. It's frankly, this is the first time, like again, this is the first time where I've had the stream be this consistently active, this successful, this just fun to be in on a consistent basis because I actually have the feedback from y'all. And like, you know, I've had this desire to want to maintain that and keep it up. So it's like, you know, when it's the first time that's happening and you have this momentum going, you don't want to let it go. Or at least I don't want to let it go. So I was kind of hanging on to that really hard. But after a while, I had to just sit down and just, you know, sniff the fucking roses or, I don't know, farts, nigga. I don't know. But I realized, okay, I'm doing too fucking much. I'm doing too fucking much. I gotta restructure this. So that's why I stepped out for a little bit. And that's why I put out the update the way that I did. And that's why we're doing things a bit differently now and just sort of leaning in on the more conversational parts of the stream, because this is the part that I have the most fun with out of all of it. I have fun doing the gameplay stuff and the editing and making like visuals and stuff like that. But like when I get caught up in thinking like, okay, well, I have to finish this playlist, I have to finish this playthrough. If I don't, then the job's not getting done. That makes this feel like, you know, busy work, and that's the last thing I want to do. So I'd rather catch that problem now than later. And so far, I feel pretty good already. So I'm glad to be back. What else we got here? Ebro just released the first track of VX. Oh shit! Hold on. Can you drop a link? I might take a listen on that in a few minutes. Panther 418. I thought. Oh no! No, we did say it's coming out in September. Okay, bet. Yeah, no, we're definitely. Wait, actually, fuck. Will I get copyrighted for that? I doubt it. I doubt it. We'll look into it. We'll look into it. But yeah, someone else said something else here. Okay. That's fair. Let's keep in mind if you ever need another break, then feel free. Mental health above all. You know. No, I feel you. No, I feel you, Corrupted. I'm. One thing y'all gotta understand about me is that like I have like very deep, intensive workaholism. It's not and it's never been in the sense where it's like, oh, okay, I have to do I have to do all my homework or I have to do all this shit in my office job or whatever. It's like, you know, if I get caught up in something that I like doing, I'm going to pour my entire soul into it, no hesitation whatsoever. And that's been an obstacle in my life for a while, and I'm starting to really just identify that and be like, nope, you cannot stay here. So I'm figuring that out. It may be a bit of a process before I have a balance, like a proper solidified balance with it, but I'm learning that slowly, and I appreciate y'all, you know, being patient with me on that. Also, Arb, I finally got a Mori, one of my friends gifted it to me, and I'm so fucking happy. Nice, dude. You're gonna have a great time with that game. I guarantee it. It's gonna be a good ass fucking time. Mori's a great game. I truly wish I hadn't played that game when I did. It was at a time when like I loved it. I couldn't really lock in on it in the way that I lock in on games now doing this. But oh my god, that game is really something else. I wish I were able to play it now. I never did the bad route in it though. I ain't gonna make no promises. No content ID on it. Bet I will take a look. But yeah, what else? So yeah, so let me so here's what I want to do. So I think I'm gonna spend some time like explaining what these streams are gonna look like moving forward in a bit more a precise way. I alluded to some things in the update video, but in terms of like my intentions, the vibe that I want to create, I feel like I want to lay down the groundwork for that first, and then I'll get the more specific points as we break them down, I guess. And then on top of that, I have a video that I was watching yesterday that I think would be really cool to watch on stream, and we could just talk about that. And then maybe we'll listen to the EX stuff, and then maybe I'll stick around on a separate game for a bit. But before I get to any of that, I gotta do something else first. So give me 1 second. Let me queue up a couple different songs here, because Smash Bros. Music can only be. Oh, this is a 30-minute queue. We're not doing that. Jesus Christ. This one. That one will get me copyrighted. Ha ha ha. Twitching. Don't drink coffee, y'all. Alright. This should be cool for now. Alright, so. Alright, so first thing. No, I didn't mean to highlight these. Alright, well. They'll disappear when they do. Alright, so. Where to start? All right, so I'm gonna start off with this by addressing the question that Speedy Aqua was asked earlier, which was Arb, do you use Game Maker? So my answer to that is currently no, but that does bring up a point about programming and shit and the game development aspect of the goals of the stream. For those that don't know, or for those that have only seen the gameplay portions of the stream, like me, like sort of, you know, going through these games and analyzing them, or just seeing me yap into the infinite void about insert topic here. Whatchamacallit? My intention here with this stream is to not only, you know, enjoy like games that I haven't played before and sort of pick them apart and just have my experience of those games being shared, but it's also to create one of my own. I've had an idea for one that I'm slowly developing, have been over the course of the past, I'd say, 1.5 years now. And I think the best way for me to put that forward is to sort of document that progress over time, have a sort of public account of my documented progress of that, from the drafting stages to the prototyping stages to the development stages to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think this is the best way to keep me accountable. I think this is the best way for me to engage with. I think it's the best way for me to build a community around it. And I think it's just going to be the way for me to go about that, especially when I know jack shit about game development from a direct perspective. Like, I've never you know, coded any projects of my own in that way. I am not a, you know, proficient modder. I know concepts, I know how to access certain things, but in terms of the development process from beginning to zero, I know nada. I don't know. And so I like talking about the issues I like to talk about from the framing of, you know, games, because games are really dope to me. Johnny Boy Taco, thanks for coming through. I like to, you know, use games as like the framework for me to sort of navigate and discuss certain issues, and I feel like this is an awesome way to sort of, you know, kill like 80,000 birds with a single stone here with the stream collective as a platform for me to use. That said, at some point, if I'm to hold to that promise, I need to do some fucking game development, right? Recently, up until this point, for the past, we're almost at a year of the channel being as active as it has been now. We're almost at a year of me being at least fairly consistent with the stream in this way, and sort of having the audience sort of build in this way. And we've dabbled in having game development as the core focus of things at the start of this, back when I was still you know, frequently sort of digesting Pirate Software as he was blowing up at the time, and responding to his stuff and sort of entering that game jam and stuff like that. And that's a direction that I wanted to start leaning more back into. The question is, how much of that process am I going to have on here? Because the project that I want to do, I legitimately don't want to explain it. I don't want it to be expressed too much outside of the context of the game itself being playable. I just don't think it will hit as hard as a message I want to communicate if I talk about the themes I want to do, rather than demonstrate them in an actual program of my design. And on top of that, talk is cheap. I can talk all day long about my fucking ideas, but it's fucking, you know, it's not that it don't mean shit if I can't, but like, idea guys don't get far in this fucking industry. So I gotta push it forward. Gotta roll. No worries, though. Thank you so much for coming through. I'm glad you stopped by, man. Also, I wouldn't know too much about the Toho product in that context, Alden. Do you already have some kind of build that can be game tested? No. That's why I want to start shifting in this direction, so I can sort of get into that territory. Because at this point, I've been talking about it so long, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be... At first, I was thinking, you know, what if I had a sort of... Can I snooze? Fuck, I can't even snooze here. At first, I was thinking, what if I had a sort of, like, arc? Because, like, you know how we're sort of in this... No, I can't even call it an arc. I was thinking that at first that I would have sort of the playthroughs back to back, go as they have been, and then sort of after I've like done a good chunk of those, then do a couple of months or weeks of just focusing on the game development thing, and then go back to gameplay. But that feels sort of unnecessarily arbitrarily broken up or segmented in a way that I feel like might break an overall flow of things. And up until now, I've been thinking, okay, well, I will solidify my idea even more and more and more and more and more until I finally feel ready to start a prototype. And I'm realizing that, you know what? No, that mindset is not going to get things done at the pace that I want to go at. It's just not going to work. I'll be able to, like, sort of, you know, have these things documented in a sense, but in terms of actually getting it to a point where it's usable and executable and communicating the ideas I want to get to, I'm not getting anywhere. So I decided moving forward that, okay, well, if this is something that I really want to do, I have to work on it continuously at this as part of the other things that I'm working on. So in terms of the aesthetics of the stream, in terms of my video editing things, in terms of music, I have to learn it all, not necessarily at the same time, at the same pace, but like it all has to be active simultaneously. It can't just be like you know, this chunked up process that I've been going at it up until this point, at least for me, at least with the way I operate. So moving forward, what I'd like to do is start reincorporating that into my actual stream content. So there was a point ages ago, I want to say like early January, where I have some shorts on this. I have one stream, I think, archived way the fuck back when, where literally I came onto the stream, I streamed in the game and software development category, and I literally sat down in Game Maker Studio and I took my forehead and I slammed it against the fucking wall for like 4 hours straight. And all I was trying to do was get fucking a box to move. That's all I was trying to do. Like literally, I had a game design document for the game jam I was in. I had ideas, but in terms of coding from point A to point B, I was trying to logic shit out, and I could not. I could not do it. I got the box to move, and I felt proud about that, but it really was absolute .0. I did not know what I was doing. And it was an embarrassing process for damn sure, but also it it got me up from 0. I went from 0 to like .00679. I'm like, yeah, she's fine, but like it was very slow progress, but that's what I had to do for me to be able to feel at least some semblance of competence in that respect. So I feel like I want to go back in the direction with that. So on occasion, not every stream, but on occasion, I'm going to try to go back to that. So I'm thinking at the start to that, I'm going to try to develop a very, very, very basic prototype of at least the sort of core functionality that I want to have in the game that I'm working on. I will frame it in a way that likely won't spoil anything to the overall bigger plan, but I want to spend some time here and there working on that as a prototype, and I'm going to be doing that using almost certainly the Godot engine, and I'm going to be trying to learn the C# programming language along the way. So far, in the many attempts I've tried to take in learning in learning Pygame, in learning Game Maker Studio, in learning Godot, in learning there was one more thing, Unity as well. In terms of trying all those out and just dicking around and trying to see what things fucking work for me, Game Maker Studio has felt the most comfortable, but I feel like Godot is the one that I'm going to get the most value out of, just for one, as a learning experience, because it's so user-friendly, like Jesus Christ. But two, just I just get the most out of it. I don't have to purchase a license. I don't have to like everything there is mine. It is my entire, like, it's just a perfect sandbox to dick around in. And I feel like once that logic of that engine and that language, or those languages, GD Script and Godot, click, then we'll be able to get shit done. But I have to commit myself to that process of being able to throw myself on here, just do shit, and just flop like a fish for 7 hours straight until something ends up on this piece of paper. That's just the process I have to go about doing it, at least until shit picks up a little bit. Wish you good luck. Thank you so much, Oliver. I don't know if this will be any help, but it's a good planning tool besides this pen and paper Word document. I will take this link, Tregalia. Have I seen this before? I think I've seen this before. Actually, yeah, I want to keep this link. I've been wanting to find a way of better documenting this online. I also may potentially excuse me. I may potentially, don't quote me on this, but I have somebody that might be interested in collaborating with me. They are not online. Y'all don't know this nigga. Y'all won't know this nigga. But even if that doesn't pan out, like, I want to be able to make sure the ideas are communicable to other people in the event that I need to get more extra help on this thing. Because as much as I'd like to be a Toby Fox that just pulls fucking musical genius and coding prominence out of his butthole, that ain't me, dude. It's not me at all. It has 3 free boards. Bet. Thank you very much. What's your opinion on Friday Night Funkin'? That game's been gaining traction lately. That game's been gaining traction for a minute, dude. It deserves it. It's a very well made, cute ass game. It's a good game. It's a good game. I respect it a lot. Bytron, have you seen the new VSOC published? I haven't seen it yet. We're going to check that out in a little while. But I know that I knew that was imminent. I didn't know that would come out today. I want to check that out later. You're in Godot right now? Nice. What do you do? Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Where's my water? Mother of God. Whew. I hate hiccups so fucking much. Should I just go back? Like, should I just quit while I'm ahead? Just stop the whole thing, cancel the whole project. It's been real. We got a year and a half in. 636 subscribers, new record. Just call it right now. I tried Godot, but the node-based programming drove me away. It's remained consistently very interesting to me. I feel like there's something with the way that works with the way my brain works. It's just tickling the right spot. I don't know how far that will go once I actually do learn it more consistently, but I like it even if it makes me uncomfortable. The node-based programming thing is so weird. But it's really cool, and I feel like it could work for me really well. Hold on. 2D platform with core principle being able to parry, boost off anything that the main thing might. Oh, that sounds cool as shit. I'd play that. One other thing I want to get into too. I think my next game after the next two I think I'm going to play a platformer. I think I might actually check out Hat in Time because I honestly missed the game feel of that shit. Time to work at fast food? Never that again. Never that again, Panther. Never that. I work in restaurants. I work in retail. Right now, I sweep and sell popcorn and movie tickets for a living, and it is the single most wonderful job I've ever had in my life. I'll happily do simple work. I will not work in fast food. I refuse. Never again. Unless like I'm talking like bullet to my head type shit. Like absolutely, like if you do not flip this fucking Dave single, you will perish. And even then, I'd have to very seriously weigh it out. But never again. I survived 2 weeks at a Wendy's. Never again. Magnesium glycinate might help. Not sure, especially if you have also cramps. I don't think I have any like real cramping issues that come from it. Actually, no, I do have some issues every once in a while where I'll get like these weird cramps in like my neck after, not hiccups. I forget when it pops up, but it fucking sucks, nigga. Oh my god. Might have to look into that. Node-based programming, like visual scripting, or the node structure. The node structure. So like literally every single thing in Godot is a node. Like your UI is comprised of nodes. Your scripts are comprised of nodes. Like everything is comprised of building block nodes. And I think they had a visual editor. Godot did. I don't think they do any. I think they either took it out or it's exclusive to an older version of the engine. But in any case, it works. It works that way. Up to try my demo and I'll release it. Absolutely, I'd love to try your demo. Pop in the Discord, Byron, and I'll happily check that out when it's ready. That sounds like Bo, the Path of the Teal Forest. What is that? Actually, everything is also a resource. Yeah, that too. I love how fast food is this universally regarded as an abysmal place to work at. Dude, it's trash. It's actual trash. Like I said, 2 weeks. I lasted 2 weeks in a Wendy's. It was, I had to go. It was so bad at that Wendy's, I didn't even pick up my check on the way out. I was entitled to like a $360 check from the work I did at that Wendy's. I just juked. I left. I said one day, I said, nah, I'm not coming back. And I was gone. It took me like 3 months to pick that check up. I was that fucked up by it, dude. I could not do it. And it wasn't even it being like a particularly bad spot. It was just like, I'm just not built for it, dude. If I can be triggered out of a job from the incessant beeping of the fryers and the fucking timers that tell you that the burgers are done flipping, I can't survive the other stressors in that environment. I simply can't. I got a working platform working in GameMaker faster than I did in Godot. I feel like the speed at which I can get something done in GameMaker is probably faster. Like here's the thing. I've tried to work in Godot and GameMaker before, and I tried simply to get a box to move. I was able to get a box to move in GameMaker pretty easily with no coding experience, only using GML. And I tried to do the same in Godot and I couldn't do shit. But I think it's a longevity thing. Like I feel like, cause here's the thing, like the system that I have in mind is, it's almost like, okay, I think I can say this. What I have in mind is not just, I guess, it's a game, but at the core of it, it's more like a visual novel engine, if that makes any sense. I think that's the best way I can put it. I'm trying to come up with a way to not just have a visual novel experience, but I'm trying to make like the actual function of the core gameplay of a visual novel completely different fundamentally. And I think for me to be able to do that, I need a sort of building block like architecture behind like the actual root of the game. And I can do that, and like even if I don't think I can't do that in GameMaker or Unity or something, but even if I try to like to find like a tutorial, right, for those things, I will only get referred to resources that tell me, hey, use this plugin to get a working dialogue system, or here's how to make this dialogue system, or here's how to do this, that, and the third. There is nothing that's instructing me on how to be able to create a very specific type of interaction within a dialogue system in a way that's in line with what I want to create. And I feel like Godot is going to be more useful for that in particular. I don't think that, not that there's no other option, but from my angle and understanding these engines and how they work, that's the one that gives me the most fundamental power from the ground up, from the very first node that I create, if that makes sense. So that's why I'm committed to learning that, especially because it's a double whammy. Because if I learn how to do this in Godot, then... And if I learn how to do it in Godot and I stick with C# as a language, I not only get to figure out how to create this very specific system, but I also learn a fucking programming language, which someone like me that knows the hardware end of computers pretty well, I think I could benefit from learning some basic scripting, at the very least. Oh god, I didn't know fast food was that bad. Fast food is I mean, it's not for everybody. Like, I think because here's the thing, right? I'm the kind of person where it's like, when I'm working, I like a certain flow to things. Like, I like to, take it easy, Alden. You take it easy. When I'm working, I like to take I like to work at a fast pace. Like, I like to, like, when I'm slinging popcorn, like, I'm like, all right, bucket, you want butter on that? Next one, next one. Like, I would like to do that shit all day long. Because it makes the hours go by faster, right? Like, I just kind of have that desire for pacing in my work, and you'd think that fast food provides that. And I've only worked in one spot, but from my experience, it doesn't feel that way. It feels more like or if it did feel that way, it felt so in a way where that, like, there was there was just so much. First of all, I was slipping everywhere, even with fucking non-slip shoes. Like, fucking, there was grease all over the fucking place. The machines didn't work. Some of the fryers were out of order. The frosting machine smelled like cock. Like, it was just a lot of shit going wrong in that spot that made it more stressful than it needed to be. But I don't recommend fast food. Restaurants, sit-down restaurants, I think that's a great first job. I think that's a great job in general. I'd happily go back. If all else fails, and this shit fucking flopped, and I can't make shit, and my computer just explodes right now and says, fuck your dreams, nigga, I'll bartend. I think I'd be a good one. Shit, I'd have a good time. But yeah, no, that's how I feel about that. Okay, what else we got? Anybody else say anything? I guess it depends on what you're trying to make. So if Godot works for you, then I'd say do it. Yeah, it depends entirely on the project. Some things will be better for certain engines than other ones. For example, I mentioned visual novel. So, like, I don't know if visual novel is the category I would ascribe my dream project to, but I think it's going to be the thing that it most closely resembles. If someone were to say, I want to make a visual novel, chances are they will be pointed to Pygame immediately because it's a visual novel engine. And that's fine. That's fine. If the core of your visual novel is just, hey, I want to be able to have these visual elements on the screen while somebody navigates dialogue choices, and reads it in a sort of, this screen in your face type way, and that's fine. But I want to do a lot more than that, and Pygame doesn't allow, I won't say doesn't allow, but Pygame is limited in terms of its basic ability to allow you to toy around with those concepts. So I have to do something fundamentally different from the start. Alrighty. What else we got? So that's going to be where a lot of the direction of the stream starts to take place. I'd say within the next month or so, I will probably start experimenting with just literally, honestly, what I think I might start doing, and this might be fucking, this can either be a snooze fest, I don't know, but I also think we're at the point where, like, I can risk being a bit boring on a stream here or there, and I can just talk with people if shit gets too wild, or we can just shift it up or whatever. I used to be so afraid of, like, if the stream's boring even once, y'all niggas are gonna fucking hate me. But I clearly see now that that is a misplaced belief, so thank y'all very much for hanging. But I think at a certain point, I'm just literally just going to start having Godot up on the stream, have some C# documentation, maybe have the occasional article here and there on how to create a basic structure for what I'm looking for, and just sit down and build and see. And if anyone can help me in the chat, if anyone knows what they're talking about more than I do, then by all means, let's hop on this shit and make it a, communal experience. But I think that's the direction we're going to start taking here, and I probably won't do that today, but we'll probably start dipping in that direction within the next couple of streams. I think it's a comparison between a specialized set of big machines and a set of all the tools you could possibly need. Sure, if you use the machines, Sure, if you use the machines, you can make something fast right off the bat, but you don't know how the thing it produces is made at the smallest scale, while the set of tools takes some time to get used to, but provides boundless versatility and makes exactly what you want with experience and time to produce stuff just as faster. Exactly. And just across like all the boards, like I'm the kind of person where it's like I want to learn things the hard way, or at least in the way where it's like I want to prioritize fundamentals before anything else, because that's how I'm able to build up the experiential toolkit in order to be able to, you know, develop a better understanding of things, to be able to do more with what I do. That's the approach I take to editing. That's the approach I take to writing, to making music, to everything. And like, you know, I want to take that same attitude with this, because especially when you're starting to learn like programming languages and shit, like that is kind of an especially powerful skill too. Like you're able to use that and create any sort of tool or any sort of you know, function in whatever environment you're in digitally. So it's like it's cool shit. I want to be able to have that. Using 2 high-level programming tools feels like building castles in the sky. Yeah, no, for sure. And that's what it feels like is kind of the default as well. Like not like the default, but it feels like you know, you're kind of just told people that are like recommended to like start like getting into game development, and they're trying to build up a sort of understanding of these things from scratch. Like they're often told to sort of go just hop into this engine or that one without much regard for you know, the intricacies there and whatnot. Like it's hard to make good recommendations, especially to beginners when it comes to that. And you know, I think that it's not the worst thing in the world. I feel like people are able to navigate out of that regardless. But yeah, no, it's definitely intimidating. It's intimidating as fuck. And with every piece of software I've ever used in a creative capacity, every single one, Premiere Pro, Blender, Source Filmmaker, Unity, Godot, Game Maker, like every FL Studio I'm having a little wrestle with as we speak. Like Jesus Christ. With every piece of software I've ever fucking opened, like I've always looked at them and been like, oh God, this is terrifying. What the fuck do I click? And part of that is just ADHD brain go fucking burr. But in an oh my God. But in another sense, it's like, you know, this is just a lot to learn. It's just I'm shocked as shit by how much volume is in front of this thing that's sitting in front of me here. And you know, where the fuck do I start? And I feel like people are so quick to sort of recommend X engine or Y engine or X language over Y language without, you know, paying the same respect to what it may look like to come at that thing from experience level 0. And not only experience level 0, but like perspective wise, like, you know, it kind of goes into the reason why I didn't want to take like computer classes back in college, because like the way that things were explained to me never really made sense when it came to more logical systems like programming or math or physics or things like that. Like I would always have to go around my own way and find different resources that would help me understand those things outside of a direct lesson from a teacher or a direct lesson from a classroom, because it just clicks differently for me. And whenever you look at resources at certain you know, programming environments and languages and stuff, you'll get it presented in a specific way, but not necessarily in a way that's compatible with you. And I feel like that sort of same assumption that if I throw somebody a recommendation or throw somebody directly into this or that environment, this coding environment or this work environment, then they'll figure it out to an extent. But to them, it may feel like building castles in the sky. So it's a lot. It's a lot of nuance to it, and I feel like I've spent so much time just trying to figure out, you know, what sections of it do and don't make sense to me, or at least which parts are most intimidating to navigate. But now I'm starting to just be like, all right, well, I want to get this done. I'm at that point in my life now, so let's just balls to the wall with this shit and see what else we can do with it. So that's the objective there. So that's gonna be, I guess, the new sort of direction of content here. The other thing that we're going to be doing here is, y'all know how we tend to dip into conversations here and there about whatever the fuck, usually along the realms of, just, I don't want to say like, social, I want to say social dynamics. I'm a social science bachelor. Like I like psychology. I like sociology. I love engaging with things like you know, social practices and patterns and politics and things like that. I don't want them to demand all the attention of the stream, because after a certain point it just becomes like, all right, well, this is just too much, and I ain't coming here to do all this shit. Because let God forbid I say one wrong thing and then someone's gonna come at me with fucking rocket launchers at my fucking doorstep because I made somebody mad. It's like, I don't want to go in that direction too heavily, but also I do think it's valuable to sort of unpack media, especially games, in like really precise and just cutting ways, and just having good conversations about that, or just having conversations stem from the fact that something is on the screen and reminded me about something, and this, that, and the third. So it's like, I want to be able to be more open with sort of just segueing into conversations like that. So I may take more periods of time to just sort of have, you know, maybe I'll watch a video on a very specific intersection of why this thing matters here. And this, that, and the third. The scientist clan didn't like what you said. Oh, wait till they see my next video. Holy shit. They gonna hate my ass, nigga. Oh, shit. But, yeah, nah, it's something that I want to dive into more. Just because, like, it just feels right. It's a topic worth discussing, but not a topic worth obsessing over. Just like more to life and deep shit. Yes, there is. And, I feel like there's a good line to walk there in terms of balancing that a lot of people don't generally walk. It's either one way or the fucking other. Like question mark. Oh, don't worry, Byron. We'll get there. We'll get there. That video's gonna take a while, but we'll get there. Like one thing I noticed, for example, is like how like I have a friend who uses TikTok a lot, right? TikTok is the devil. Side note, total side note. We might be dropping the shorts on TikTok within the next few months. I don't want to. I might be having a mobile stream live on TikTok at some point. I don't want to, but excuse me. My goal here is to expand. I'll have to do things I don't want to do. It won't happen for a couple of months. I got to get my second phone back online first at some point. Because I refuse to have that app installed on my daily driver. But we're going to figure things out. That's a total side note. TikTok, I know. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, dude. I don't want to do it. I have to, bro. I have to, dog. I have to at least explore the option. This is, I'm trying to blow this shit up, man. I have to explore the option. It's right there. I already have a library of content that's built for it. It's right there. I already have a whole separate stream that's designed for TikTok format, and their fucking thing allows for, hey, vertical stream, horizontal stream. It literally does that. I put too much effort into creating a simultaneous stream experience for me to not use something that's going to take that into account. Have to explore it. No time soon. But got to explore it. Anyway, I bring that up. I bring that up because you know, I have some friends that are like in a lot of like leftist circles on there, or just like political circles on there, and it's like all I see when you scroll is just you get so much fucking whiplash. Like you get a fucking you'll get a video of like a dog making you the most beautiful plate of tiramisu you've ever seen in your life. It's the most delicious, most luscious food you've ever seen, crafted by the hands of the most beautiful golden purebred dog you've ever seen in your fucking life. And then you swipe up and you just see fucking bombs everywhere, nigga. And you're just seeing like somebody talk about, you know, this situation or that or the third, or they're talking about how like, you know, this specific sector of people is responding to this piece of media in a specific way, and it's causing this internal conflict that is in reality enabling the thralls of fascism to rule and overthrow the proletariat and turn the fucking boots and the frogs gay. And it's like, what? I just wanted to make some rice. It doesn't have to be. It's a cycle of misery. It is a cycle of fucking misery. You put that so well. And I don't even think it's the fact that those conversations are at the level of intensity that they are. It is the cycle. It is the back and forth. It is the hit of good thing, bad, bad. And having that just go, just send your fucking equilibrium in terms of like, you know, feeling comfortable in the state of laying down on your fucking bed on your phone, be completely and consistently disrupted. And it's not good. I don't think that's healthy. But what I do think it's healthy is, you know, actually focusing on whatever is relevant to what you may be engaging with more fully and more concretely in the immediate moment. Say it's a game, say it's a movie, say it's a show, and using the context of that show to locate specific intersections within it and try to find the social commentary there and make comparisons to those things that you're already deriving enjoyment from, and using those things to further develop your frame of how you interact with and how you sort of develop a better sense of the real world. I feel like that is a much cleaner way to engage with these things. Not cleaner as if we can't talk about them directly, but I feel like that is a healthier, less doom scrolly fucking way to engage with these things. And you know, I just think it's really useful. I think it's really good. Also, Julia, thanks for coming through with the resub. Thank you so much. You cannot be expected to constantly think about all the world's horrors, especially those you have no control over, those that will destroy you. Also, welcome back. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And you are absolutely right. It's like, and it's like, I'll see people like, you know, like for example, like with like the fucking shit going on with Gaza. There's like a whole bunch of fucking like TikToks going on like on there right now where you'll either see people bringing attention to it, or see people that are directly over there, and they'll have a video and they're taking direct recordings of shit going down on the fucking ground right now. And like, I'll see people like scroll through and they'll see like happy-go-lucky TikTok, and then they'll come across that, and then they'll say like, I'm so sorry, I have to scroll. And then like they'll scroll, and it's like, I'm not trying to bully you, but the fact that you feel the need to apologize for ignoring a piece of media that is making you like feel this distress, I understand awareness, but like that is a lot. And I don't even think it's like, oh god, it's so much that goes into that. Holy shit. Max, let me address what you said earlier. Hold on one second. Panther, whatever happens, promise you won't become a TikTok NPC streamer. You know what? Now that you say that, I will make no promises. There's not a cerebral into the alt-right socials. I don't know if you've ever seen any of those hell sites, but apart from the very bad things that are said there, holy shit, it's dire. Like all these people being angry at the wrong thing, convincing each other they're angry at the right thing. Those sites, I feel like, are easier to ignore though, because like, aren't they mostly filled with people who have already like isolated themselves from the more upfront and like front and center social media centers like Twitter and shit? Like they've been talking so much goofy shit that they got themselves TOS'd out of being on this site where they could actually have a firm platform to affect people. And so they had to redirect themselves to an echo chamber. And at that point, it's like, well, if you're there, you're either there to like enjoy looking at the train wreck, or it's like, you know, I don't think that anybody goes there that isn't already engaged with it, or that's already engaging with it like ironically. Oh, the corners of Facebooking. Okay, that's different. That's different. Yeah, no. If you're talking about just like the little pockets of places that are still mainstream, yeah, those are bad. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like there's something about it being contained in an environment where there is the contrast of normal people as the majority and they're the minority. I feel like there's something different about that versus the full echo chamber of niggas being fucking dickheads. The doom scroll mindset declares you a horrible person if you don't, while simultaneously insisting that those who doom scroll somehow morally superior, even though they sit in their cushy single family homes as much as everybody else is. Yeah, no, for sure. It's and it sucks because like, what do you tell these niggas? like what do you tell them? Like how, and like they'll be the first to like come at somebody else for, you know, or organization efforts or engagement with the issues, when it's like you literally, and this is also part of the reason why I hate. Are we doing a fucking TikTok hate fucking segment right now? That's what this is going to go into, because I will do it. But like fucking, this is part of the reason why I hate TikTok specifically, because I feel it is always time for a TikTok hate segment. Well, she said it. So it's like, this is part of the reason why I don't fuck with TikTok specifically, because it enables extremely, I don't want to call it lazy conversation or lazy engagement with the topics, because I imagine that there are many people, I've seen many people who go on the TikTok, they'll pull up their phone, they'll record themselves speak, and they will be spitting. They will say things that are at least taking into account all of the relevant and proper factors that need to be taken into account to address these things in the right way. And I feel like those people get a bad rap, and they're few and far between. However, TikTok does enable an entirely much larger and much more insidious group of people, and these are the majority of people that genuinely think that that adequate activism is turning on your phone, saying thing is bad, and then putting your phone back down and watching the likes go up. And I feel like the amount of damage that shit has done to, like they're active. Oh wait, hold on. TikTok responsible for the AfD getting 35% in East Germany today. Holy shit! Wait, what do you mean by that? Explain that more, please. Oh my god. But it lends itself to a very rapidly forming bubble of people like who are seeing this very vague point being made, whether it's in favor of a cause or against a certain cause. And because people identify with it on a very basic surface level, they like it, it gets circulated, and it keeps on going and going, even if the angles that person might be taking are coming from not necessarily benevolent places, or from places that are at least looking at the whole picture as they should be looked at. And like, I feel like that is so dangerous, like incredibly so. Like that is something where it's like, it can go our way, it can go in the progressive way, where, yeah, no, you can just say a point plainly in a sort of, actually, I'll get to that point in a second. You can say a point plainly and have it, you know, generate an appropriate amount of traffic in a specific direction that you may want, but that doesn't make it responsible, and that doesn't make it like safe at all. And too many people feel far too enabled to do that casually and feel like they are hot shit because they said it in this specific way. And no, it's not good. It's not safe at all. There's a comparison that I want to make with that, but I'll get to that in a second. TikTok is responsible. Okay, no, you said that. State elected in 3 East German states. The 2 largest party are the AfD and a left-wing party that is just another Russia mouthpiece. And TikTok has systematically been pushing alpha male content to AfD party members to young voters in East Germany, including one where one of the staffers was an actual CCP spy. That's fucking crazy. And you know what that you know what I think the best way to put this is, now that I'm talking about this shit right now? You know what TikTok is? TikTok is a populism generator. That's a weird way to put it. I don't even know if that's the exact way I want to put it, but it's a populism generator because it appeals to people, which can go either way. It can go either way because populism can work in ways that will, you know, engage people that want to hear the narratives that speak to them very well, and it'll sort of like fucking it'll enable them to sort of like, you know, just have their desired outcomes be broadcasted in a way that's much more effective than just talking about the intricacies of certain policies or certain just complexities in whatever insert social dynamic here. Or it can go in a way where it leads to a lot more to many more destructive lines of thought, particularly in right-wing thinking. And that happens like naturally, like, you know, populism wins fucking races for whatever fucking, you know, federal situation it might be in. But the fact that there are now platforms in place that are just chilling, just out there that people are using casually and putting no thoughts into them, they just enable this very specific dynamic much more. And it's enormously powerful, and we don't really give enough thought into the power of that. We really don't. And it's dangerous. It really is. There's an organized ring of right-wing influencers on TikTok that were amplified massively, and I'm heralded by what next year's federal elections will show for 18 to 24-year-olds. Apparently, these losers call themselves the Angerverse. Do you know how fucked your situation has to be for people to unironically refer to themselves as the Angerverse? Oh my god. One of their biggest leaders was just arrested for the English equivalent would be incitement to hatred, as well as usage of unconstitutional terrorist symbols of terrorist organization. Oh my god. I really hope Germany gets the shit together, man. I've been spoofing y'all for a little bit now, but I didn't realize that fucking there was so much capitalization on the fun of just the way these media outlets are being used. In other words, the swastika, Germanic runes of red and black background and shit like that. Got you. I thought that shit was handled. I thought y'all had this shit in the bag, bro. Oh my god. It's gonna be a weird fucking year, man. The other thing I wanted to say, and I'm just gonna talk about this now because I don't know how many chances I'm going to get to bring up this point, but there's been a thought in the back of my mind about TikTok specifically that I think may not be the most effective way of illustrating my points with it, but I'm going to bring it up. When I very first used TikTok like years ago, like back during the pandemic, and I started like leaning into it, there was a comparison to it that I made to another. Let's be clear here what this is. This is what I'm about to say is a social media platform. We may not think about it that way, or we may not even know all that much, you know, about it in terms of its like history and shit to really be able to like have this conversation. But there's a very, whenever I was using TikTok, I always made a comparison to, I don't know how many of y'all in chat have had a 3DS, but on the 3DS, or I'm sorry, on the DSi, there we go, on the Nintendo DSi, way back in like between like 2008, 2012, something like that. On the DSi, there was a application called Flipnote Studio. You'll still see videos that are produced in Flipnote Studio, like little animation clips like that, pop up here and there, on like Twitter and shit. There's some channels that are doing this shit here and there. And Flipnote Studio had an online platform linked to it called Flipnote Hatena. And Flipnote Hatena was very small. It was very simple. It was oriented towards like children, like people just sort of using the app to share little fucking flip notes. Like there wasn't that much deep about it. And it was a very super duper system, super duper simple system. There was no discovery was based entirely on its voting system. There was no like hashtags or anything like that. There was no system like that, I don't think. It was literally just you put the name of your shit, you found it. There were sounds within it that people would use, and people would take down other flip notes, like download them, take the sound from it, and make their own spin-offs of it. There was a voting system. People would buy different colored stars to indicate levels of support for certain flip notes, and so that was able to garner people certain degrees of popularity on them. And when I first started using TikTok, it reminded me a lot of Flipnote Hatena, not because of like, you know, any sort of like swiping system or anything specific to the videos that were there, but because like it was sort of the way that things were popularized and copied that made me make that comparison. Like there were like you would see things like TikToks or flip notes rather going totally viral in the context of Hatena, and everybody and their mother would make spin-offs of it and try to do their own flip on it. And there was a certain like sort of message that was carried through in the creation of that spin-off, right? And it was usually used in the context of like jokes or just like, you know, little comedic moments here and there. But on occasion you'd get like a joke or a sentiment that's like communicated through a joke that gets put through in a little fucking animated clip. It's like a little cartoon. There's a little like comic strip that's making a joke about our world today, or a political cartoon or something. And people would have, you know, certain conversations about those things to a limited extent, or if there was little dramas in between creators on that platform here and there. But the point is that these the system that was in place with Hatena allowed for certain things to just kind of circulate in a very rapid fire way that people were able to sort of copy, paste, and make their own to a certain extent, if they didn't just outright rip it the fuck off. And it created a similar dynamic to what TikTok was doing. And I feel like looking at both of those two things, I can't put like precise words in terms of what sort of dynamics are being accomplished there from a social perspective, but like it is just interesting how these things have been, how a specific flip note or a specific video has a certain inherent degree of being valuable to the broader populace of whatever group of people is using that app, or is just considered more replicable than another one. And I feel like there's a very strong potential in that dynamic that TikTok in particular makes very, very extremely dangerous use of, in ways that you know, benefit or harm certain people, in the way that they censor certain things, in the way that certain things are boosted in the algorithm, in the way that certain people's For You pages are like filled with just specific content. It's very much just putting people into compartment after compartment after compartment after compartment, and having these bubbles sort of fester among themselves and reinforce their own sets of opinions. Like it's really, really effective. And I feel like it makes sense for this app to be looked at as like a national security threat in a lot of cases, because like, well, yeah, if you have an app that's like unspoken purpose is to literally create fucking echo chambers, yeah, that has a lot of dangerous potential there. And yeah, I wonder how much. Max, you asked about it going corpo. I think it was always corpo because they were owned by Vine, right? TikTok is a derivative of the people that made Vine, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that their entire purpose was to be the next social media thing. They went through Vine, through something. It's always been ByteDance? Really? But didn't ByteDance own Vine? Correct me there. Nah? Oh, I'm dumb as fuck. I'm dumb as fuck. That was Twitter. That was Twitter? Hold the fuck up. Sure as shit, Twitter acquired Vine. Wow. I'm stupid. Anyway, principle still stands. They're owned by some big niggas who got big money, and they know how when you have that much influence, you know how much, or at least you're paying a pretty strong degree of attention to how much, you know, influence as a noun is circulated through the application that you're publishing and making available to the public. There's a lot of shit going on down there. What I more meant is the content on TikTok. Well, that I'm talking about that too, just in a lesser sense. Like, I'm saying that, like, in the same way how the specific content you're talking about, in terms of people just saying all types of goofy manosphere right wing shit, whatever corner you may be in, like, that is what feels more not necessarily corporate, even just slop. But what I'm saying is that, like, I don't even think slop like that is retained on a platform unless it's specifically allowed. Like that's like most TOSs are not going to like outright ban people making like right-wing talking points, right? But they are going to like make sure you're not slinging like certain words or like slurs or whatever the fucking case is here, and they're going to keep you relatively in check. And like, I feel like what TikTok is doing is they're not like outright banning people from saying specific things, but it's not only that they're allowing people to say things and like leaning into that, but they are like, they have specifically created a system that allows it to remain and allows it to expand in a very rapid way that I feel like can only be achieved by creating your social media platform in a very specific way that is meant to sort of just like the core of it expand outward and spread to more people. Like TikTok's core algorithm like doesn't work unless it's able to track how much people like shit and expand it out to other people that also like this shit. And that's the case for any social media platform, but TikTok's feels a bit more insidious because like it's very aggressive in the way that it does pull your information and use that to match that of other people, whether that be just from the specific sounds that you like or the trends that are set, or the if you do fall into a certain right-wing rabbit hole or whatever the case is, you might hear certain similar points repeated amongst certain creators once you do like even just one of them. It's the same thing you see, or you have seen. I don't know if they fixed this or not, but it's the same thing you might see on like the YouTube manosphere, where it's like you stumble across one single self-improvement video or like fucking this is anything among those lines of fucking grifts, and it's in your recommended. It's in your recommended for the rest of your fucking life. And it's crazy. Also love how TikTok peeps censor themselves more and more. Hold on. Probably because the destabilized U.S. helps a certain other nation, but that's just me. Yeah, no. It's very concerning. It's very concerning how that app is being used for warfare, man. Love how TikTok people censor themselves more and more because ByteDance keeps banning more and more topics for arbitrary reasons. I click, yeah, no, it's and on top of that, they're super sensory and they're very secretive about to what degree they do or don't ban things. That's probably the biggest fucking offense in all that, for real. Or at least the most like straight up like, I think it shouldn't be doing that shit. I don't know. Click on a single video of a takedown on a German right-wing YouTuber. Turns out the person making that takedown was also all right. So I clicked on that shit, clicked off so fast and still. Yeah, no, man. It's fucking crazy. It's still there. I'm still profiled as a straight white male. Yeah. Yep. So am I. I don't know, man. Shit's fucking crazy. But yeah, no. It's... I don't know. That went longer than I expected, but there's just so much of these fucking platforms, man. Jesus Christ. TikTok's a fucking devil. I fucking hate it, but I gotta use it. Google really went "You ain't black." They really did. For the umpteenth time. I've been trying to tell them for years. I don't know what to tell these things. Maybe it's the way I talk. I don't know. The demelanator. Oh my god. Oh shit. All right. All right. I am going to start getting into the thing that I wanted to get into today, which is there was a video that I saw last night. I watched it in full, but I was kind of like half paying attention to it, and I want to pull it back up again. It's by a nigga much bigger than me. So I don't think it'll kill anybody if I watch it and just talk about my feelings on it in a fair use type way. And in any case, if y'all like it, go over there and like the nigga shit, please, dear God. But it's a video on animation that I think is really cool. And it's about 30 minutes long, so I think I want to talk about that and just like sort of pause it as we go through and do that. Before I do that, though, I want to check out this fucking Void Stranger shit. Or I'm sorry, this fucking EX album shit. I wonder if that's on YouTube. Sure enough. Wait, extended encore. What? Hold on, is it just one track that came out? Or did the whole album drop? For now, yeah. Okay, so it's the Void Stranger thing. It's not a Zero Ranger thing. Oh wait, this isn't the Okay, so yeah, so I found it. All right, cool. Okay, so it's not Green Arrange. It's not Green Arrange. It's the extended encore. All right, bet. All right, cool. So yeah, I'll take a look at this. Give me 1 second. Here, release it in stages. Okay. Let me go here. Come on. Oh. It's a song we know. I'm assuming there's a twist here. Meanwhile, I'm going to see if I can find the other thing. Nah, I think it's a celebration of the game. Okay. So, wait. This is... Oh, it's called an encore. Makes total sense. Hold on. Isn't the EX track already listed on his official Voice Changer playlist? Nah. Okay, so so this is just a song we know already. Yeah. Cause the what you call it? This is new. This is a new song. We had the Pokemon Crystal Cave theme. Most likely, I'll take a look though after this song's over. Or at least until I hear a difference here. Oh, sorry, I forgot. Did you complete the Wayne section yet or not? No, nigga. No, I did not. No, the fuck I didn't. What was it? Here we go. Ready? They never posted the EX tracks officially. There's a vid on that was audio ripped. Okay, got you. So this is just the EX track that we're listening to right now. This is not any special changes from what we already know. So yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, we know this song already. Let me hear what this one is. Anyway, get moaned, idiot. You right. You just kind of quiet, yeah. That should be better. I fucking love this channel so much. I fucking love this channel. Oh my god, I miss Steve Gunner so much. Whoa, wait. Also, that's so dope how like Steve Gunner's like aware of. I mean, they know fucking everything about every game fucking ever, but. Oh man, I'm glad they caught wind of Sesame Razor's bullshit. It's well deserved. It's a high honor. Don't they usually get like last I remember Ebro had a Steve Ripper too. I was just about to say, don't they usually get like the creators of the games to work? Not like always, but like they'll get like somebody with some kind of connection to participate in the rips, or like they'll get like a MIDI from somebody or something like that. I remember when I was younger, the emulated pitch bend. Actually, hold on, I don't think I heard that. I had my headphones out because I'm stupid. Let me run that back. Oh my god! Jesus! Alright, yeah, no, that's pretty solid. That's pretty fucking cool. Okay. I may need to look and see if there's any more rips like that. Also, I love how, like, fucking gooey. This section sucks. Way too many bug-type Pokemon trying to sell me weird shortcut. Oh my god. He's just so cool. I remember when I was younger, when, like, that channel was still first gaining traction, I was very dumb. And I used to think that they were all uploaded by, like, one nigga. And, like, I was like, how does he make all these? But it's all good. All right. So the video I want to watch, and it's gonna take a while to get through this. So I'm gonna try and just break this shit down. So this is a video on hybrid animation, the merging of 3D animation styles and 2D animation styles, and a little bit of its history, a little bit of its intricacies, and a little bit of how people generally speaking, don't know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to you know, how these things have been represented. Because I don't talk about animation as much as I do games here, but I'd argue it's just as important to me, and just any of my inspiration in terms of, you know, how I want to go about creating shit of my own. And I respect the medium a lot. And at the center of this video is the title is Hybrid Animation is Not the Spider-Verse Style. And as someone that has loved Into the Spider-Verse so much, and as someone that has paid very close attention to animation history since I was a child, and seeing how the medium has evolved and how certain movies or shows or whatever had certain intricacies and style changes over time, and seeing this gradual progress of things and seeing it all culminate so cleanly in the Spider-Verse, and to have people see that movie and be like, oh wow, this shit just started getting cool. No, it's been cool for a fucking minute. And this nigga screams this shit to the rooftops beautifully, wonderfully, in a way that I have not seen as effectively communicated really ever. And I want to showcase that, and I want to talk about that a bit more. So I want to do that in a moment. I'm just going to adjust this here. Good, as he should be. Oh yeah, no, this dude speaks truth to power, my dude. Hold on. This be no. All right, that should be better. Ah! All right, cool. We're good. 2.5, the animation is so fucking good. Dog, it nigga goes in. He goes the fuck in, dude. He goes the fuck in. All right. So yeah, we're gonna watch this. We're gonna chill. And then after this, I might play a game that I've been playing lately that's in my own free time for a little bit. Get a game of that or two in, and then I will call it a stream. All right, let's get started. Here we go. Side note, I just want to say the production quality on this video for this one little channel that has fucking just barely over 100k subs is insane. Like I have to give this nigga props. Like please pay very close attention to the details in this shit, because it's gonna blow your fucking mind. This shit's so cool.
I love kids.
Once we've done the
Let me know how audio is too.
Screen, the computer with a ballpoint pen and a mechanical hand draws what was on the screen onto an animation piece of paper, and it'll come out with a drawing that looks like this. And with a new piece of paper, I'll put on top of this, and I'll draw Basil running for his life on the gears. So it makes a nice hybrid between computer graphics and character animation.
Hybrid animation. The blending of 3D computer-generated imagery and traditional hand-drawn cartoons. It's a technique that's been around for quite a while now. The Great Mouse Detective released in 1986, and it's often credited as the first notable example of it. But when it comes to discourse on the internet, the term hybrid animation didn't really pop up until recent years. And there's a very good reason for that. This movie was not the first use of CGI in a cartoon. In fact, it's not even the first use of CGI in a Disney cartoon. But what the
I actually don't think I've seen this movie yet, still.
Was a leap forward.
If I did, it wasn't
Hollywood
passing.
Directors and the general movie-going audience of 1986 that computer graphics were more than just a gimmick. At least it could have. if anybody could tell it was there, but hey, that was always the goal. Audiences weren't supposed to notice. The critics could tell that something was better about this movie, but it wasn't entirely clear to them why. In Roger Ebert's highly positive review, he stated, "Computers have taken most of the drudgery and much of the expense out of animation, and the result is a movie like The Great Mouse Detective, which looks more fully animated than anything in some 30 years."
Okay. Before we even get into this shit, this thing has already started, and I have to say, before anything else, I already love his tone. Because in calling out this specific quote from Ebert, right? He's talking about how, like, he's praising the movie, but he in the way that he's praising it, it's in this sort of limited sense that's like acknowledging, like, it's acknowledging a broader sense of improvement in the medium, but it's saying nothing about an understanding of the actual development points within the medium. And he's going to go into it more in a second, so I don't want to spend too much time on it. But like, I wanted to be clear how much of a stark, like, I don't know if dichotomy is the right word, but there's been such an underappreciation for animation as a medium that has really only just shifted in the past, like, for real, like, decade and some change. And it was especially prominent back then. And to sort of just call out directly this sort of, like, just passive, like, push it to the side, like, you know, this looks good, but, you know, it's pretty cool, gotta admit. Like, there's so much more weight to this that people do not grasp or acknowledge. And I just love the way he's coming at it with this little tinge of aggression. It's not like aggression like, fuck this nigga. But it's aggression in the sense where it's like, you know, I'm going to say boldly, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. He's saying it kindly, he's saying it respectfully, but he's calling out the lack of attention to the precise details that make up a broader sense of perfection in the medium. And he's gonna talk a lot more about that. So I'm gonna let him talk.
And he was completely wrong. Well, okay, the movie did look pretty incredible, but it wasn't because computers magically made life easier. If anything, they made things significantly more challenging for the animators, but the results speak for themselves.
We could then move through the set just like a live action camera could do, or even more like a helicopter can do. So when the characters are running like this up the gear, the camera's panning and moving along with them in tremendous kind of shots that aren't normally possible in an animated picture.
CGI was only used during the climax in the clock tower, which comprised just under 2 minutes of the total runtime. And aside from the gears, the rest of the movie was animated by hand, drawn with pencil and paper, with physical ink and paint on animation cells. It was about as old school as it got. At the time, this was Disney's second most expensive animated film ever produced and had been in development for over 4 years. To say that the drudgery and expense was taken out of animation goes to show that most people didn't really understand where computers fit in the artistic process. In Ebert's defense, this was 1986, a time where the vast majority of people had never used a computer, so the marketing gimmick of computer animation was just futuristic enough to go right over everybody's heads. And you would think that after nearly 40 years, general audiences would finally understand how artists and animators use computers, but these tools are more misunderstood now than they've ever been. Hybridizing CGI into hand-animated movies became a staple technique for studios throughout the rest of the 80s and 90s, but the goal was always to try and make it invisible, to make the two styles match as closely as possible. So it makes a lot of sense that the layman would have a hard time noticing it. There isn't a single agreed-upon definition for hybrid animation, but as I see it, it's simply the blending of 2D and 3D techniques into one piece of media. Evidently, it's been around for quite a while, but people are treating it like it's a recent development. And if you read the title of this video, you probably already know why that is. Hey, we're gonna get to you, just give me a minute. Or 7-ish. So let's go back to 1986. Even if critics and audiences didn't understand why, the general consensus back then, and even today, was that The Great Mouse Detective was pretty good.
Hey fellas, I'll take all my blues.
Why, yes, that is a burlesque show that devolves into a drunken bar fight in a G-rated Disney cartoon. After 2 back-to-back box office losses, The Great Mouse Detective
Side note,
finally...
total side note, I wish we could go back to the days when, like, G and PG rated movies, like, did, like truly did not give a fuck. Like, not a single one. Like, I feel like we've shifted into... Hold on. I don't know why they did this better back then with current 3D technology. Well, a lot of money and hard work. Bowlerization and its consequences on society. Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean, Max? What does that mean? I've never heard that term. Bowlerization? I'm even stupider. What does that mean? Holy shit. I haven't heard that one. But yeah, as far as why this is better back then with current 3D, I think it was just the limitations of the medium at the time, right? Like back then, excuse me. Back then, there was only like so many frames of reference as to how CG could even be utilized. So like I feel like the ways that they were approaching their usage of the actual CGI generation, like it was in a more fundamentalist way. Like it's literally like, okay, you know, I don't know if we're going to be able to make like something brand new out of this experience here, but we can at least, you know, try our best to emulate a specific effect cleanly in a way that sort of is close to the way they were already doing it, but is just complementing the things that we can't already do. He's actually going to talk more about that specific point in a second. Thomas Bowler, the man who tried to make Shakespeare's plays family friendly. Oh, sorry, more suitable for women and children because only men can handle lewd scenes. Oh my, is that really the origins of this shit? I've been wondering about that. Hold on, I want to Google that. Hold the fuck up. Put an S there, but that's okay, here we go. 1 second. Well, it's one of many examples of it. Let me just take a look at this here. The bowdlerized means to alter existing programs, plays, etc., so they are less rude and or offensive. Commonly, this takes the form of swapping curse words from euphemisms. Term is used in a negative sense by those who think the alteration is often done with a ridiculously high fear of lawsuits or need for political correctness. Sometimes it's understandable. Different countries have different standards, so if a distributor wants to keep the same age rating, some of their most sexual violent content may be eroded for the moral guardians that catch wind of it. Or maybe someone noticed it is all it takes to take a show from something that seems to be suitable for kids. Remove a few swear words, darn it. Others are more fairly reasonable for broadcasters, just sounding it down to violence. Children are tender-hearted. Is this more so just out of... doesn't actually lower the quality of the art and so on the editing? Okay, I've known that this has been the sentiment. I didn't know this is the word that people used for it. Here we go. Names to Thomas Bowler, who did it on the Bible William Shakespeare's play, for instance, changing Ophelia's drowning from suicide to accident. Worth noting that Bowler himself created his family's Shakespeare's in the way to introduce Shakespeare's plays to audience who would otherwise be barred from experiencing them at all, and actively encourage people to seek out the original status can be said in most modern Bowlerizers. Okay. I'm actually really glad I'm able to put a word to that now. But yeah, no, I do want. Was it just like, say, Satanic Panic or some shit around the time when things like these were coming out, where like people were so obsessed with the idea of making things more palatable or whatever you want to talk about? Because like, I feel like if they hadn't, that has been a trend for a while already. Okay, fair enough. I thought it was Vsauce is the video one, if I recall correctly. Bet I want to look into that. But like, I find it like really sad that at least just as the turning point of this medium was starting to reach this point that they just like decided, hey, yeah, we're gonna fucking you know, just totally remove all. And one thing that people always like don't think about when it comes to like interacting with animation as a medium. Also, welcome back, Alden. Yes, I'm still going. One thing that people don't think about when it comes to interacting with this medium in particular is that like it is adults making this shit. Like, people are so quick to fucking, well, you just gave me the word bowlerize. I was about to say flanderize. I don't think that's the right word either. But people are so quick to, you know, minimize the angles at which, you know, we can sort of have just, yeah, a little bit of animated cat leg here and there. Whatever the fucking case is, whatever example you want to use in terms of like more adult things being portrayed in media as a whole. Like, it feels like you know, this happened, or the dramatic shift in it happening, at least in animation, was at a point where it's like people were willing to explore these things with some degree of carelessness, I'll say, but in a way that, like, yeah, it would have allowed for a lot more ideas to be represented if it were allowed to keep up. But there was this unshakable fear that, oh god, the children, rah! And it just melted any goodwill out of it. And now you really can't do shit. Now they're just starting to build back up to that point fucking 30 years later, 35. Harder to make scenes requires more talented people to work on it, so the products are more high quality. With today's tech, anyone can make this stuff with a little bit of work. Same reason why Blender seems to execs as mediocre compared to paid software, because more apprentice work is out there being visible compared to Maya and Max's Pro all-in user base. Yeah, I agree with that, Rose. I think it's also interesting though, because like it shows how out of touch the execs can be, because like you can get, like, for case in point, Blender versus Maya as like a thing. You can do a lot of shit with Blender. You can do enormously beautiful things with very simple programs. And like hey, Okada with the confetti, thanks for coming through, yeah. Enormously cool shit with simple ass programs. And it doesn't even just speak to a misunderstanding of the programs themselves. It speaks to a misunderstanding of the medium you're withholding control over, because it's like you don't understand the most inherent part of what makes like visual art, or in this case very specifically animation, so unique and so powerful, in the fact that it is damn near infinitely flexible. Like, you are able to take very simple things and translate them across so many different like sub-mediums, in ways that are 3D, in ways that make use of angles, in ways that are abstract, in ways that are just infinitely complex. Like, there's so much there that you can tap into, and there's these sort of, you know, not just walls that are put in place, but just this weird lack of engagement with it that it's really annoying. But he will talk more about that. I'm going to shut the fuck up momentarily. But yes, if I remember correctly, it was mostly evangelical Christian missionaries responsible for this development. Lamau. Yeah, story of our fucking lives.
Managed to turn a profit and was considered by historians to be the movie that saved the company's floundering animation division. Jeffrey Katzenberg, the newly appointed business lead of said division, who was considered by myself to suck, threatened to shutter the whole thing if this movie wasn't a financial success. Fortunately,
did y'all catch The Incredibles, nigga?
But the studio wouldn't have been in this precarious state if it weren't for the sad financial disaster that was their prior release.
Walt Disney Pictures presents The Black.
Disney went to great lengths to get this movie.
Walt Disney presents who? Who? The what? They present the what? I'm suing them.
We produced on 70mm film, so we are gonna need a bigger screen.
He didn't need to do that.
Black Cauldron.
Released only a year earlier, this was Disney's most expensive movie to date, and adjusted for inflation, it's... Oh, okay, actually, that's pretty normal for an animated movie these days. But it was completely unheard of for 1985, and I definitely think it shows. Black Cauldron's animation, visual effects, and detailed backdrops are gorgeous, and in spite of that, this film was considered by historians to be poo-poo and doo-doo, thanks to some mediocre performances and discount Lord of the Rings fantasy writing. I know this movie has a bit of a cult following these days, but most people know it as The Bad One. And that really is a bummer, because it broke ground by being the first American cartoon to use
Actually
CGI
does look
in its
really
production.
good. Jesus Christ.
It also has Disney's whiniest protagonist,
Is this to be my life?
a magic fortune-telling pig, and Gurgi. So I can kind of see where both sides are coming from. While the Black Cauldron's use of hybrid animation wasn't nearly as impressive as the Great Mouse Detectives, the computer imagery on display here was still ahead of its time.
Oh,
mainly
geez, we
because
talked
they
about
didn't
this
try
with
to make it
Ebo. Are you part of the cult, Tregalia?
obvious that it was even there. In fact, the B-roll that I've been playing for the last 15 to 20 seconds or so contains almost every hybrid CGI shot that made its way into the movie. Did you notice? I bet you didn't. But sometimes you have the exact opposite goal. Tron was a live-action movie from 1982 that was enhanced with CGI visuals that they took the pleasure of shoving
Because the
right in
dog
your
did the
face.
thing. I need
But
to
that was
watch
always
this.
the goal. They wanted it to be obvious that it was there.
I don't know the
and
reference
story
very
was
well.
written to
I know we
facilitate
just did
that.
it, but
The characters were in a computery world, so naturally the world looked computery. And for the time period, it was unique and novel. There really was nothing else like it. And while groundbreaking, it was considered
Nah,
by
this Black Cauldron had a
historians to
development
give
hell.
me a headache. Blending animation with live-action footage is a topic worth exploring all on its own, but I specifically
told me
want to
about it.
focus on the merging of 3D CGI
I don't think he
with
talked about development
hand-drawn
hell here,
2D techniques. The reason I mentioned Tron is because in the 1980s, when people heard CGI, they thought of this.
I knew it had bad
This.
reception, but I didn't know it had like considering how well like the end result is visually, I wouldn't have thought that it had that many struggles in the background, especially from. Well, I won't give Disney that much credit, but yeah, no, I wouldn't have anticipated that.
The way the Great Mouse Detective and Black Cauldron were able to blend their use of computer animation so seamlessly is through a technique called rotoscoping, which is the act of meticulously tracing over source material frame by frame. Studios would implement this when they wanted to add a level of realism to their cartoons. In both movies, they specifically used it on complex shapes that needed to be viewed in motion, the exact sort of thing that would have been a nightmare to animate by hand. Back in the day, precise, sharp angles were the exact kind of thing that computers excelled at rendering. That's why they wanted CGI to enhance the hand-drawn animation
Oh, shit.
instead of replace it. But Disney wasn't the first studio to make use of computers, and they weren't the only ones innovating in the 80s. Golgo 13, the professional,
I'm gonna have to give that
was a
movie,
Japanese movie from 1983 with an
my
intro
fucking
sequence
attention.
that is considered by historians to have cool
There's a lot of
skeletons
classics I still haven't really investigated
with
yet.
guns. It's also thought to be the first time 3D CGI was integrated into a traditionally animated movie, and if you look real close, you might be able to spot where. As an animator and visual effects expert, I've spent hours analyzing this scene, and I'm pretty sure the CGI parts are the parts that look like it.
We watched that with Ebro and Ebo. Great Cauldron or
Google hybrid animation,
Black Cauldron
you'll
or
probably see lists
that
with a bunch of modern
Japanese
3D animated movies that incorporate some hand-drawn elements, like Into the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and The Bad Guys. In fact, CBR.com, which as far as
Black
I can
Cauldron,
tell
got
is just
you.
BuzzFeed for nerds, has a list called Every Hybrid
I
2D
somehow feel like y'all had a wonderful time watching that fucking movie.
3D animated
I can just imagine, like, at the very least, I can imagine Ebro like nerding the fuck out over it to a certain extent.
movie ranked according to Rotten Tomatoes. It has 9 examples. The oldest one is from 2012, and 3 of them aren't even movies. Geez, not even gonna put the Iron Giant on here, huh?
Right.
Look, I'm not stupid. I know that one listicle doesn't represent the general public sentiment, but for as much innovation as we've seen,
Honestly, I'm not like it doesn't, but also in this case, it really does kinda. Like, the reason why I'm even playing this shit is because, like, there is so much lack of nuance in the conversations with these things. Like, people still to this day look at animation like it's this separate joke, like it's just a fucking meme. It's not real. It's for kids, exclusive. Like, oh my god, he'll talk more. Jesus Christ, I just cannot express how frustrated this shit makes me. Cause like even if just that one list, like, yeah.
The 3D animation
God.
space in the past few years, it's a little frustrating to see people act like studios haven't been trying to innovate with visuals up until recently. But I kinda understand why. As CGI started to overtake hand-drawn animation's dwindling presence in the box office, it was getting difficult to keep track of who made what. In the early days, the average moviegoer would see a trailer for a new 3D animated film, and mentally they'd either put it in the
what do you mean
Pixar
K to 18?
or
Forgot
the
it.
DreamWorks bucket.
Like
Kinda
kids
how
to
your
18?
grandma
What does that
called
mean?
every video game console a Game Boy or a Nintendo. That was a bad take, cut that out. To the average, uneducated viewer, things had started to feel a little samey. There were obviously going to be outliers, but nothing your grandma was going to watch. So when something came out that was completely unique, that didn't look like anything else...
Side note, I've heard 9 is really good, haven't seen it, still want to. Rango's insane. Has anybody seen Rango? Rango is so fucking good. Oh my lord. And like he is describing the exact extent to which movies like that get slept on. Like, he is pointing out such a precise dynamic or lack thereof. Like, I'm so happy with this video. No animation / mature. So wait, elaborate more, Trigala. You mean like you're asking what about them? Are you saying like the ones that exist like are not represented well, or are you asking like what do you mean by that?
And existed within an established intellectual property that people already liked? That got everybody's attention. This is why everything changed in 2018 when Into the Spider-Verse released. Well, once it hit Netflix. It was a bit of a box office sleeper when...
Oh, animation is for kids. Oh yeah, no. People just completely disregard the fact that, like, you know, in the same way how... And that's the thing, too. It's not even... People don't even consider the fact that an adult animation can be created. And, like, that sounds like an exaggeration because, like, well, no, there's a whole Adult Swim. People know what adult cartoons are. They really don't. Like, a lot of people, when they see something like even an adult show, for example, Smiling Friends, Rick and Morty, The Boondocks, like, people will see shows like that and immediately, because it has an animated appearance to it, because it is animated, because it is cartoonish in nature, they will immediately, like, instantly categorize it as kid show. It is the instant association. Animation kid show. Animation kid show. There is no differentiation. It's just not there. I'm not exaggerating. You ask any person, let's say above, not any person, but you ask most people, at least in my country, you ask most people above the age of, like, let's say, I feel like 35 is too young. Let's say 39. Let's say 39 or like 41 or something. You ask most people above that age, like, you show them like an episode of a show off an Adult Swim or an episode off a show off like Cartoon Network Base or Nickelodeon or something, and like they will just, as Max said, they will just see kids animation with the occasional swear word. Like, that's all they'll see. And I feel like there are some cartoons that sort of lean into more cutesy aesthetics and may have that effect on people more than others. When I think of that, I think of something like South Park, for example. But also, like, that's not South Park's fault. It's just the style that they chose. But because it does still fall in this sort of cutesy category, at least on the surface, it still maintains that undesired effect. But the blood, etc., doesn't matter. Well, okay. Once they start seeing the blood is when the gears start to turn a little bit for a lot of people. But still, the association will still not be this is an adult cartoon. They will be this is a kids cartoon that is especially grotesque. Why are they showing, like, the question is, why are they showing kids this? It, like, the association is still always jumped to children. And I wonder how much of that is attributed to people, like, making these attempts to censor in efforts to, you know, make things more palatable for a more childlike or feminine audience in the case of bowdlerization, like Max was saying, or if it's purely in the interest of just sort of having, like, again, the wider audience, having it more accessible to the audience in, like, a general sense, whatever the case is. But that is the sentiment. It's not that people are that convinced that animation is a purely kids medium, regardless of what appears on screen. Unless it's a titty. Unless it's a fucking titty. You see a titty on screen, everyone's like, oh, everyone loses their fucking mind. But if it's like blood, cursing, violence, it's still children. It's only when there's a fucking titty on the screen. That is the main difference there. But every other time, ask anybody. That is not anybody, but anybody over a certain age bracket, you will be hard pressed to find people that are able to properly make that separation in the medium. Be very, very hard pressed. The solution, titties. Yeah, just put titties in everything. There's titties in everything. I want 2D titties. I want 3D titties. I want rotoscope titties. I want cell shaded titties. I want shadow shaded titties. I want all the titties. Anyway, in case y'all couldn't tell, I'm a leg man. Anyway, let's go.
Spider-Man movies and was 5th place in the animation category.
I don't get the America titty issue. You think I do?
Out of its moderate success story, what it really became known for was the way it blended techniques. Up to this point, we'd seen a lot of traditionally animated movies that incorporated 3D elements for added effect, or as an animation assist, or to make possible what was previously impossible. But by the time movies switched to being pretty much...
Why can't I clip? Do exclamation point clip. It'll work.
More or less disappeared, and Into the Spider-Verse brought it back. It was the first full-length movie to blend 2D techniques into 3D animation, the opposite of what had become so common decades earlier. And some say
what's good? Thanks for coming through.
That influenced the stylistic shift that we see in so much of modern animation. Into the Spider-Verse really did change animation forever, except it wasn't actually the first 3D movie to incorporate.
I hope that's long enough. Let me know if that worked.
Mimic traditional animation techniques. The Peanuts movie did that 3 years earlier, and I don't see no Peanuts on no listicle of every hybrid movie, so what gives? Why do people seem to think that hybrid animation started here?
I still need to watch the Peanuts movie.
Well,
holy shit.
The answer
it looks so good.
Complicated, but it all starts with, say it with me now, the number of frames per second and the decision of when to switch between animating on 2s or 3s and when to utilize interpolation technique.
Missed the whole thing. Fuck. God damn it. Boo. I want to be able to clip things completely out of context in like 3-second clips. I'll try. I'll try to make it so easy. Can men walk shirtless on the streets in America, by the way? Yep, I see it all the time. Can they not over there? I actually wonder, is that banned in other countries now that I'm thinking about it? I'm curious. Cause that shit's casual. I see that shit. Especially in my area? God. At least twice a week. Never mind, clips work fine for me. I don't actually, yeah, I'm wondering what that issue is for you, Bruce. You're skirting indecent exposure sometimes. I think that's not the worst thing. I'm just saying. If men can do it, why can't women? That's my only argument. They can, but in China they get fined. That's annoying. I can see it in China though. Yeah, that's a very stupid part. Other thing too is that like I understand. Like I'm not saying I understand. I think the logic is dumb, but like I understand the continual like sexualization of like female chest, like of titty, but also like whenever I think of that context, that argument specifically, like, you know, why can men do this and women can't in terms of running outside shirtless? Like, that is just a bunch of niggas like that. It shows how prominent these fucking gooner ass niggas are everywhere and have always been historically in places of control of law, because we really do not need to sexualize it. It's just titty. Like, it's fine. It's fine. I don't, and then as soon as I say some shit like that, people will be like, yeah, you're just arguing because you just want to see more titty. Regardless of whether I want to see more titty or not, the point is it shouldn't fucking matter. But I'm getting into a whole separate thing. Jesus Christ. Because milkers, you know, that's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are, Emily. They're milkers. That's their entire purpose. We're fucking mammals. We're mammals. We run the earth. Half of the species on earth that are capable of intelligent organization have titties. Why the fuck are we blocking the core fucking aspect that identifies our entire fucking phylum? Are you kidding me? There's a Twitch viewer kind of thing. The one I use has to constantly keep up Twitch's API. I see. Gotcha. I want to tweak the clip function to see if I can extend the time for it, because for some reason it only works for like 10 seconds, but I want to extend it up to 60. Or make it customizable. I don't see much men doing it though, unless it's very hot. Oh my god, dude. Any place I go, there is always, like, especially when I'm going to work, there's people like jogging outside, like shirtless all the time, dude. Like it is constant. It is everywhere here. It is so prominent here. Nah, but listen, my circle of friends, they should not be let outside while men are showing their whole ass nips to way too many cis gays. Oh god, maybe we need to, like, not only allow men to run around shirtless, but incentivize it so that way they can be confronted by more absolutely feral cis gays, so that way they can all shut the fuck up and put their fucking shirts back on. Jesus, maybe that's the ticket here. Maybe that's the strat. The man tits are real, absolutely.
Thanks.
What's a cartoon?
It's frame rates.
Scare them into putting their shirts back on. It would work. It would work.
There should be a very obvious difference between this and this. Both are animated
After being
3D.
asked to show their
The one
pits
on
for the eighth
left
time.
feels way more cartoonish, and that's because the only frames you see are the ones that I posed manually. The hand on the right used all the same poses, but with interpolation enabled. That means the movements between all the poses were calculated by software and blended together with some added motion blur. The industry standard for film and TV is to display 24 images, or frames, per second. To put that into perspective, that means in a hand-drawn, traditionally animated cartoon, somebody had to draw 24 new images for a single second of video. That's called animating on ones. And
Oh shit, that is James Baxter. Holy shit.
Smoothest, most fluid animation.
I was wondering why I look so fucking good. I'm like, where is this from?
Because your brain is really good at filling in the gaps. A new drawing every other frame is called animating on twos. A drawing every three is called animating on threes. 4 is on fours. You get it. Hand-drawn animation will regularly switch between ones and twos and threes based on the kind of
I just realized that fucking listicle didn't have a pneumonia. Yup. Shame on their families. Yup.
motion they want to convey. It's usually more of a stylistic decision.
I agree with the sentiment. I also haven't seen the Mona. I have to be consistent about my truth of my energy here.
Than a cost-cutting measure. The decision of when to make a new drawing and when to hold on to an existing one is called frame pacing. So essentially, the best way to make a 3D animation look like 2D is to use poses without interpolation, with pacing on 2s and 3s, and using action lines instead of motion blur. And if I've done my job right, hopefully you'll be surprised when I do this. If you really want to sell the effect, it's not just a matter of time.
This dude is cracked. Side note. This dude is so cool. That was such a cool ass move for niggas that didn't know. That's so cool. That shit was so smooth, man. Oh my god. I can't believe I'm only finding this guy now. This dude's fucking crazy. Okay, I'm gonna grab a water bottle real quick while the ads are running. I'll be right back. I'm having fun. Thanks, guys. Now I'll have to edit this. It's all good though. All right, let's proceed.
Timing. You also need to flatten out the lighting and shading. So let's take a look at some fellow much bigger than me YouTubers. Savannah XYZ might move like a cartoon, but is obviously a
great
3D
YouTuber.
model, where the super fluid doodly has a cartoony outline and flat monochrome colors. If you combine the two styles, you've got yourself a very convincing 3D guy who looks like he's hand-drawn, but isn't, if I do say so myself. We have a behind-the-scenes video up on our Patreon that goes into a little more depth on how we got it working, which you can check out for free. YouTube is not my full-time job, but it does eat up basically all of my free time. So if you want to support what we do here, that's the best.
As a side note, if I feel like there's gonna come a point where I would love to focus on animation as like a thing that would have to come long after the game development arc, and it would be contingent on that being at least somewhat successful. But if we're talking like far future Arb, like what year is it? 2024. If we're talking like 2050 Arb, when Arb is like 50 years old, this is the kind of shit I'll be doing in my Rick Sanchez garage. Simulating smearing on 3D objects also adds up a lot of 2D to animations. Oh, he's going to talk about that. Oh, God, I'm so hyped about that shit. Did you ever check out that Arc System Works presentation about Guilty Gear style? I started watching it. I did not finish it. What did it? Because that was a while ago. What was I doing at that time? I think I had started it. And then... Well, regardless, I never finished it. But, yeah, no, I did check it out. And I think a lot of the principles, that was it. A lot of the principles in that I had already been somewhat exposed to when I was looking into how Dragon Ball Fighters had done their animation style. There was a similar video on that released a couple years ago, even prior to that. I think, I forget if that was done by the actual developers or not. I don't think so. I think it was someone just kind of breaking. It may have been Boundary Break, maybe. But I think there was just some other in-depth explanation of similar techniques that were used in the Guilty Gear stuff. But the core principles of it were ones that were familiar to me, so I ended up getting partway through the video and then I fell off. But it the way they're able to sort of emulate 2D effects in 3D space, it's amazing how much precise angling and modeling and just sort of creation of like certain shape, like the gymnastics required, the technical gymnastics required to accomplish these effects are ridiculous. It's really insane. And excuse me. It's so much intricacy in that, and people really slip on that. Fighters made by Arc System work too. Yeah. No, I know. That's why it rung familiar, because like that's why when Fighters came out, everyone's like, wait, hold the fuck up. What is this? What is this Guilty Gear shit? What? Like, no, it was the whole thing. I know. But yeah, no. There's a broader point in this video as well that I think he'll touch on it later. I will wait till we get to that point.
This place to do it. Just throwing that out there. Also, like and subscribe and stuff.
Cam Wing. It is I, sponsorship horse.
Sponsorship horse?
Sponsorship.
Couldn't have just knocked?
It was urgent. Your personal information is all over the internet. I'm here to tell you.
Every doubled. How did you? He comes in. It's your behalf.
Hold
you
on.
could do this yourself, but there.
I thought it was a different dev team that saw the presentation and went, "Oh shit, we want to do that because it's pretty inspiring." It's amazing. Maybe I'll. You know what? Maybe I'll pull that video back up, and maybe we can watch that next stream or next chill stream. Maybe we can do that, cause I want to, or maybe now. I don't know. I'll see. I'll see how I feel in a little bit. But I might actually come right back to that while we're on the topic, cause it's really cool shit, and it'll illustrate the point in an even more complex context that is games, cause like. It's one thing to be able to, like, I feel like the core fundamentals of it are the same in terms of just getting the animated effects done, but there is an extra layer that goes into having it feel in control in a game environment where you're meant to have a certain degree of control over the characters and their interactions with the environment. Like in a fight, like for example, like in a fighting game where like you're animating characters that are purely operating like side to side views outside of specific like activated cutscenes and like attacks and shit. Like you like, okay, there's a whole different set of design philosophies that goes into having that be the majority of interactions there, and you're gonna have to be considering your movement angles and the way you sort of have attacks be telegraphed from the sideways view rather than any angle you choose that fit any visual elements you design as a part of like a storyboard or something. Like you can choose any angle you want in a traditionally animated work. You cannot choose any angle you want in a video game where you're only limited to one plane of angles to view it from. And I feel like there's a lot that goes into that part of the design as well that I think I might want to talk more about. So I might come back to that.
Wall.
I'm the government of USA.
When you're ready to get started, you can visit
Here, if you're just gonna do the whole ad by yourself.
I didn't incogni.com/verse. What I'm about to say should be clicking the link in the description. Coming back to Into the Spider-Verse, what I'm about to say should be pretty obvious. The characters in this movie are animated almost exclusively on 2s and 3s. This is the main method they use to make it feel more cartoonish, even though it obviously is rendered in 3D. If they use any interpolation, it's very sparingly. Pretty much every pose was handcrafted one frame at a time, like a stop animation movie. In addition to that, they use a lot of heavily exaggerated poses to emphasize the force and speed of emotion. Like in this scene, in a single pose, he goes from seated to standing with his fists raised. He gets a couple poses of wind-up, then on ones, well, bam, he punches the car and holds it for 2 frames. They added a motion smear, but only to the second one, which conveys a sense of speed when nothing else is changing. But let's go back a couple frames and look at the car. There's a sort of after image of it trailing behind. Those are called multiples, and you'll see them in the next frame when it starts flying away in the opposite direction. You can barely notice these things in motion. It's literally blink and you'll miss it, but all of these little details added up are why it feels so cartoony. Smears and multiples are used to convey movement in cartoons, but most importantly, these same techniques are used in comics, which the Peanuts movie used to very faithfully mimic the newspaper strip it was based on. After winding up, he throws the snowball, but instead of a smear, we get these 2 motion lines, like in the comic. When the ball comes flying back at him, it only takes 2 frames to pass from the left to the right, knocking him in the air in the process. A lot of motion in not a lot of frames. So we've got the same exaggerated
God,
posing,
that's so
motion
cool.
lines, hand-drawn facial features, animation on twos, and both movies even use comic book action words. The Peanuts movie was a huge step in the direction of bringing back the sense of cartoonishness to 3D movies, but it still latched on to that Pixar look. The realistic lighting and shading, the simulated hair, the stylized but mostly photorealistic environments. Into the Spider-Verse threw all of that out the window. Lighting and shading are much sharper, textures are exaggerated and messy, they feel more hand-painted. Hair is still simulated, but it reacts to the light like a drawing. If Peanuts was lightly mimicking traditional techniques, Spider-Verse took that mimicry and turned it up a couple notches. But you can still easily tell where 3D and 2D start and end. It doesn't quite blur the lines in the same way that the Great Mouse Detective's clock tower sequence does, but it isn't trying to. The contrasting styles are a conscious decision because they wanted this movie to look different. Both Peanuts and Into the Spider-Verse clearly hybridize 3D rendering with 2D animation techniques, but the reason this one gets all the credit for forcing animation to evolve and breaking the rules of 3D animation is because of what it didn't do. It didn't look like anything else. Hybrid animation obviously did not start here. It didn't even start this century. But when everything else before it kinda looked the same, all it took was for one movie to look like nothing else to make everybody realize, wait, this rocks. Let's start doing that. And then they did. Into the Spider-Verse proved to studio executives that movies are allowed to look like whatever they wanted, and that audiences responded well to taking risks. I mean, not always, but sometimes they do. So in 2021, Sony Pictures Animation...
Has anyone seen that, by the way? Kubo and the Two Strings? That was a movie that, like, in circles from me, that movie was, like, kind of hyped up. And then when I saw it, I thought it looked beautiful visually, but, like, the plot just kind of wasn't hidden for me like that. It just felt kind of simplistic.
Produced The Mitchells versus The Machines, and since it was made by the same studio, it was made by a lot of the same people who made Into the Spider-Verse, including the same producers and most of the same visual designers, so it uses a lot of the same techniques and animation style, which means I don't have a ton to add here other than it's really good and you should watch it. But in 2022, DreamWorks released The Bad Guys. 3D animation had always allowed
I need to watch this shit. The shit he's gonna put on here is so fucking cool. Hold up.
for highly detailed character design, the kind of thing which would have been a nightmare to animate traditionally, but The Bad Guys inverted that philosophy, where characters were designed with simplicity as the goal, like they were originally meant to be animated with pencil and paper. The characters hold on to key poses for longer and quickly snap from one to the other. You'll see shots with backgrounds that look hand-painted, but as the camera moves through them, you can tell that it's stylized CGI. Dust and smoke effects are simulated at a lower frame rate with sharp lighting to
That
look as
shit.
flat and hand-drawn as possible. Most characters have a set of individual teeth, but when the animators want to exaggerate a specific emotion, they'll swap out the models for a big, toothy grin or an angry, pointy snarl.
Oh
What
my
makes The Bad
God.
Guys look so distinct isn't that they tried to pull elements of hand-drawn animation into a CGI movie, because there's really not a lot of that. It's in the way they integrated classical animation techniques into their 3D animation pipeline. They found a way to make
This
it
looks
feel
so
like a
fucking
hand-drawn
good,
cartoon
dude.
without exactly looking like one. Actually, now that I say that, I guess it's not really a hybrid, but it looks cool. And DreamWorks was on a roll because their next theatrical release was Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, a sequel that nobody asked for to a movie that nobody liked. Aside from the fact that it even exists, the most absurd part is that it's, like, really good. In terms of animation, they went in a bit of a different direction than The Bad Guys, since this is technically a spin-off of Shrek. So instead of upping the cartoonishness, they leaned into a painterly storybook style, where the environments look like they came straight out of an illustration, which is a nice callback to the original movie it's based on. Most of the characters are animated just like any other 3D movie with smooth interpolation, but it's all about the details. Their hair looks like it was scribbled with pencil. The eyes don't reflect light, so they look flat and hand-painted. And certain features are accentuated
I actually
with
never
line
noticed
work.
that.
But where it gets cool is when the story takes us to an action sequence. It's like a switch is flipped, and suddenly the motions are exaggerated with posing on 2s and 3s, with smear frames and action lines. Then once the scene starts to calm back down, the frame rate returns to where it was, like a signal to the audience that things are under control. The movie enters cartoon mode when they fight, and it goes back to storybook mode when things are calm. It's a very cool effect. Peanuts, Spider-Verse, Mitchell's vs. the Machines, The Bad Guys, and Puss in Boots are all very different movies that managed to capture a lot of the same feeling, and that came from the similar ways they chose to mimic traditional animation styles. In an industry where there's a term for just about everything, surprisingly there isn't a name for this particular technique, but I think stylistic mimicry makes the most sense. The decision to pull traditional techniques into 3D movies feels very new because it is. The goal of blending mediums together was to draw attention to it, to make it stand out. But back in the 80s, when Disney pulled 3D techniques into their traditional movies, they were shooting for what I'm gonna call stylistic uniformity, where you don't even realize that the hand-drawn cartoon you're watching has elements of CGI hiding underneath it.
This was the point that I wanted to touch on earlier that I knew he'd be getting back to later on, was that back then, he's referring to this as stylistic uniformity, but like back in like the 80s, like the animator's goal was primarily to maintain a certain consistency of appearance with their usage of CGI and have it be incorporated in a way that feels seamless. And the point I wanted to make with that is that like this is a kind of thing that's like I feel like that was their focus back then because it was the only real frame of reference that they had. Like when it comes to what animation techniques were available at the time and what they were able to use CGI for, they only had so much exposure to usage of the technology in this kind of way, and like being able to sort of use it in ways where they are mishmashing certain elements of 2D versus 3D together in a way that's more clashing, or in a way that clashes more, in a way that's going to be like sort of trying to make one more like the other rather than having them work in tandem with each other. There was only so many ways that it could even be imagined to be utilized for that purpose. Like the frame of reference just wasn't there. So having it sort of evolve from this one more utilitarian attempt at purposefully doing it into something that's more sort of, okay, here's a very clear separation of these techniques or these technique categories. Let's explore ways of making them sort of mimic each other and play around with each other, and be in a way sort of layered over each other, just in, I guess, the third dimension rather than the second. I think it's really interesting how there was that shift, there was that compartmentalization of the original techniques back before those frames of reference were achieved versus now. I think that's just a really cool thing.
Their goal at the time was to blur the lines and ensure that the average viewer wasn't going to be able to tell what parts were rendered in what way. Like Prince Eric's ship in The Little Mermaid. If you know what you're looking for, you can tell it's 3D, but in 1989, it wouldn't have screamed CGI to the average audience member. By the time The Emperor's New Groove released in the year 2000, Disney had really gotten that down to a science. In this scene, Kuzco and Pacha, who are both hand-drawn, were tied to a CGI log, which looks so seamless that I bet most of you didn't notice it was 3D until I pointed it out. They do this with a number of props throughout the movie, and as somebody who watched it over and over as a kid, I'm actually kind of shocked I didn't know about this until now, which means they totally nailed it. In a primarily hand-drawn movie, animation teams will make an effort to uniformly blend 3D animation into it, but the inverse sounds nearly impossible. If your movie is primarily animated in 3D, how would you seamlessly add hand-drawn elements in a way that nobody will notice? Well, that's exactly what Arcane did. Watching this, you would be forgiven for assuming that everything you see here was just stylized CGI.
No
like
Group
what
is such
these
a wonder
movies
of
did,
a
and
movie.
the
It really
characters
was
definitely are.
so
In
fucking
earlier
good.
examples, I talk about backgrounds that look hand-painted, but you could tell they were 3D when the camera started moving. But in Arcane, they actually did hand-paint all these backgrounds, and surprisingly, it was done as a cost-cutting measure. As a Netflix streaming series, Arcane has 9 episodes that constitute around 6 hours.
I want to give this movie the respect it very much probably deserves. I just cannot willfully engage myself in any degree of League of Legends brain rot. I truly can't. I don't think they can ever get that sort of thing going again at Disney unless all the C-level just gets fucking ousted. Yeah, pretty much. Disney's a bunch of pussies, unfortunately. They're better. I would say in their TV animation divisions, you could probably get, yeah, possibly. I won't say probably, but possibly get something as expressive as New Groove, maybe one time in the next 10 years. Movie division, almost certainly not, especially not right now. Shit's a fucking problem at the moment. Can't for the life of me engage with League. I think the creators want to do it, but the C's doesn't. No, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Good show, even if you don't know / get League. I imagine it is. I just refuse to touch. The only thing that I will willfully touch that has the League of Legends odor on it will be 2XKO when that comes out. And even then, I might give that like a week and then drop it and never play it again. I just don't fuck with Riot. I just do not fuck with Riot. I don't fuck with Riot at all.
Of animation, where animated movies are usually less than 2, and they don't have a movie budget, so they needed to find a way to make more with less. Shots like this, with the level of detail on display, would have taken a 3D artist weeks to model, texture, and light everything, but if you're only going to see it from 1 or 2 different angles, a painter could make static backgrounds with a similar level of detail in just a couple days. There's a really great video that breaks it down quite nicely.
Same thing here. They don't need to 3D model anything here. They just need a
Oh,
painting
shit.
and project that painting into those layouts. And then they need some shadow catchers so they can later composite with the 3D characters.
In their efforts to save as much time and money as possible, they created a whole new visual aesthetic. Intergalactic used a lot of the same techniques, but instead of projecting the backgrounds onto 3D geometry, they stayed as static hand.
Arcane is definitely great artistically, but for some reason, League character's whole backstory is just as I pulled this shit out of nowhere kind of vibe. I don't even think I mind that so much. I don't think there's anything inherent to like the lore or the like design of League or any of its characters or visuals or anything like that. I feel like all of that I can like, you know, develop an appreciation for. I just don't fuck with the game because I feel like it with the game and by extension the universe, because I feel like it I have no evidence for this. I have no like proper way to explain or claim this, but like League of Legends, it speaks to my gut as a game that is inherently addictive in its design in a way that I don't know if it's the nature of MOBAs and just the way that those games sort of tend to be designed. But it just makes me uncomfortable in the way that both that it's leaned into and in the way that the broader community sort of leans into it very hard without much intervention at all. It just signals to me that if I play this game, I will not be able to escape. And I surround myself with an enormous number of gamers throughout my entire life that have played all types of things for all amounts of time, spent all tons of money. I've seen people get into gotchas and this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. And the most extreme degree of video game addiction that I've ever seen in my life has come from League more than any of those other aspects combined. Like League is just terrifying. Like I don't fuck with that game. That game's design inherently makes one toxic. Yeah, and I don't even know. I don't even know the extent to which it does that. Emily mentions voice chat. Maybe it's like, again, my assumption has been that it's the way that a MOBA structure works inherently because of like, maybe because like the way that it's balanced, because like MOBAs are kind of meant to be a more competitive thing. You lean on one side, you lean on the other. And the two sides clash is more of a display of skill. I thought maybe there was something about the nature of that was leaned into. I heard gotcha. No, Kato. I thought it was something more about that kind of bothered me about it, but no. I just don't know. I just don't know. How they go on the other way on purpose, I don't know what that means. All I know is it's signaled loud enough to me for me to not fuck with it. And I don't even want to take the risk of wanting to engage with that franchise any more slightly by watching the fucking League of Legends animated series. I can't do it. Sorry. Can't do it.
painted images, like what they used to do in traditional cartoons. The main
I heard
characters
gotcha.
are always 3D, but the background elements
Oh,
could be
God.
just a moving image.
Hope you've been good,
it's hard
Kato.
to tell what mediums are being used and when. Stylistic uniformity is all about invisible blending.
I just see the wizard beer, and y'all know exactly what I'm thinking about. The meme. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to get clipped. But y'all know what I'm talking about. It's 5v5, but if someone on your team loses a lot, they can make an enemy permanently stronger. So if you're winning, it's because you're good. If you're losing, it's because your teammates must be bad and lost a lot. Oh! Yeah. Yeah, that's just asking for fucking failure there in terms of creating a healthier environment. God. And they've kept that structure for ages. Even Overwatch does better than that. Oh my God.
The uses of mixed mediums should come together so seamlessly that you either don't notice it's there or it becomes difficult to tell which medium is which. Stylistic mimicry is all about making one medium look like another, but they aren't necessarily trying to mask the fact.
Every mobile design has that by design has that flaw. Yes, but I feel like well, I don't know. I deliberately don't play mobiles. Let me not talk outside my lane.
That it's there.
I will play Deadlock though.
Into the Spider-Verse might capture the feeling of hand-drawn animation, but it's obviously just mimicking.
And Paragon was
you
fun.
You can tell it's all CGI. When Moses parts the Red Sea in The Prince of Egypt, the water is definitely computer generated, but they weren't aiming for a photorealistic simulation. It's stylized.
Side note, just want to say, DreamWorks is better than Pixar. That's it. That's the tweet. Get the fuck off my shorts feed. Yes, I'm making that a short. Deadlock is mad fun. Valve Cook. Wait, you have it? You have it? Did I you got one of them codes, man? I got one of them codes. You got one of them there. One of the got any more in their codes, brother? Sure.
Exaggerated, and the effect helps to establish a sense.
Oh shit, we'll talk later. I was trying to get it from somebody else, but it wasn't working. But I would deeply appreciate it.
And miraculous, which is the point. In Atlantis: The Lost Empire, you can tell that practically every vehicle is rendered in 3D, whether they're cars, ships, or a skyscraper-sized submarine. And the different rendering techniques highlight how inhuman and mechanical everything is. It shows off the sense of scale in a very imposing way. It's used to the same effect in The Iron Giant, having the title character rendered
Atlantis
in a
led this
different
movie.
medium from
I
everything else.
don't
It's
think
not
I've
only
watched it
part
from
of
beginning to end, but I was
it's
always
part of the
impressed by his
story,
visuals.
to show how he doesn't belong and why everybody is.
Confession, I still have not seen The Iron Giant.
Even though he doesn't fit in the world, he
I gotta fix that very
seamlessly
soon.
interacts with the world. Klaus does something
This shit caught me. Hold up.
extremely unique, where the bulk of the movie is traditionally animated, one hand-drawn frame at a time, but it was lit and shaded using 3D rendering techniques. This allows for characters' eyes to have realistic reflections or diffuse light on their skin. They developed a set of custom machine learning algorithms specifically designed to make their cartoon mimic CGI. Insider broke it all down in a behind-the-scenes video that I highly recommend watching after you finish this one.
That is crazy to me. I did not know this movie was 2D animated. I knew that like it. Oh no, I'm sorry. I knew that it was 2D animated to an extent. I thought it was like a blend. Like I thought it was like to an extent like the thing that he's doing, like with his own rig as his own character insert for this video. I did not think that this movie was 2D animated entirely and had all of its like CGI effects based off a fucking lighting algorithm. That is insane. Sent Steam friend code. Thank you, Ruze. I'll follow up on that. We're almost done this, John. I'll follow up on it after that before I switch to the next game. Heard about this, but I haven't seen it. Oh, Kato, you would love it. This movie's fucking beautiful. This movie like had me tearing the fuck up. Fucking love this movie. Arb, time to learn a code with Godot, some lighting program. honestly, I'm really interested in like learning how to do like shaders and like shit involving light specifically. Like I feel like if I'm going to achieve a sort of especially like well crafted artistic design element in anything that I'm working on, I feel like it would come from the realm of something like effects or things like shaders or lightings or detail oriented design aspects, rather than I've designed a character very well. I just don't really have the artistic or drawing experience to really know how to create that very well. But I do have a very strong appreciation for more detail-oriented things. That's why fucking smear frames make me hard as a fucking rock. Like, I don't know what it is, but I like focusing on the precise, tiny details. For one, because they're simpler to do and execute. Like, I feel like I need to learn things the simple way because I'm a dum-dum. And that just helps me get it across. But yeah, no, I just think that's dope. 2D sprite normals. Godot's lighting engine had that feature, if I recall correctly. Like the feature in this movie, really? To be investigated. I think I want to have a lot of fun exploring that engine. I really do think I will.
Very cool stuff. After Spider-Verse opened the floodgates in 2018, it only took a few short years for...
Oh, this movie is so good.
What might be the hybrid movie that's ever been made. I didn't grow up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In fact, the only tidbits I ever picked up about it just came through cultural osmosis. Having no particular attachment to the franchise, I can't say I set my expectations for a new TMNT movie especially high until I saw the first trailer. People have accused it of just copying the Spider-Verse style, but those people are stupid.
He said it. Never mind. We're good. I ain't got to say it. Yeah, somewhat you can make 2D sprites respond to light differently by establishing their reflection directions. Ooh. Ooh, that actually sounds stupidly powerful. Holy shit. Okay, yeah. Holy shit. Okay.
You're one of those people.
Okay.
I'm going to prove to you that you're...
That sounds so cool, actually.
It's animated on 2s and 3s like Spider-Verse, but everything, and I mean everything, looks like it came straight out of a sketchbook. Diffused background lighting bleeds like watercolor. Light sources in view of the camera, like the headlights of a car or an overhead street lamp, use scribbled lines instead of simulated glare.
Crazy
fact,
shit.
If I could describe the design motif of this entire...
Dog, look at the moon! Hold on.
Glare. In fact...
Look at the moon here. It might be blocked. Actually, no, I can turn the scan lines off. Hold on. Fuck the scan lines. Is that it? No, that's the chat. Y'all gonna kill me if I fucking block the chat. Look at this shit. Look at the frames on the moon. Look at this area where my cursor is highlighting on the moon. Look at how that flickers, dude. Hold on, is this working? Here we go. You see how the scribbles are changing on the moon? Like, ever so slightly. Do y'all see this shit? Like, there's a clear one. It's so subtle. It's like right here. To emulate the fucking, like, moon glow shifting ever so slightly with the camera panning over as they go across the skyline. That shit is crazy, dude. Oh my god. It's Jesus Christ.
Design motif of this entire movie in 2 words, it would be scribbled line work, because it is everywhere. Particle effects, reflections on glasses or glare from a movie screen, action lines during fast movement. When the camera quickly pans, we don't get motion blur. Everything in frame gets scribbly. Fur and hair looks like it was drawn on. But it isn't just the visual effects. The 3D geometry of the world is messy and asymmetrical. There's a very hand-drawn irregularity to all of the models. The handles and vents on these locker doors are all slightly different shapes. The hallway is rectangular, but the lines aren't perfectly straight, and it's like this everywhere they go. Human characters in particular are modeled with an asymmetry to them, like they were hastily doodled in a few seconds. The turtles were raised by their dad to be scared of humanity, to avoid interacting with them at all costs.
Fucking loves Splinter's design in
designed
this
with
too.
funky ugliness to them, except for April O'Neil, the one human character who accepted the turtles for who they were. And the
Do y'all
first
fuck with
friendship
Ninja
that they
Turtles
formed.
over
I'm
in
gonna spoil
Europe?
everything here, but by the end of the movie, as they gain a better understanding of them, the human characters take on much friendlier.
I don't know how popular
designs.
it is over
It's
there.
subtle, but
It's huge
a
over
really
here.
Nice touch. The art style is what drew me into it, but the story is fantastic. I kind of can't believe how much I love this movie. In the way they mimic 2D animation techniques, they were able to uniformly blend everything together completely seamlessly. So I wouldn't stick Mutant Mayhem into the stylistic mimicry or stylistic...
I imagine it's more prominent where
because
Ruse's at.
it's both. The problem with covering such a broad topic is that no single script will ever be able to do it justice. There was a lot more I wanted to talk about. I ended up cutting almost 20 extra minutes just to get this video to a reasonable length. And I barely even mentioned anime. There are some insanely cool examples. If this video does well enough, I'd definitely like to revisit...
Hey, Kimwing,
What's up?
you put smiling friends in the thumbnail.
Yeah? So?
Spend 25 minutes. Why haven't you talked about it?
Oh yeah. I should probably do that. Since I'm apparently in the business of categorizing and naming stuff, there's a third hybrid animation style that you really don't see that often, which I call stylistic dissonance. The objective wasn't ever to blend
the editing.
things together, it was
That was such sharp editing just on the text there. Oh my god, I didn't even notice that earlier. God, I'm busting a fucking nut. Jesus Christ.
to highlight the contrast between blatantly unmatched aesthetics in the same scene. Smiling Friends is a predominantly hand-drawn cartoon, but they'll regularly pull in different characters from entirely different mediums. You mostly see it used for comedic effect, but if they wanted to invoke a sense of fear, they managed to pull that off pretty well too. Quite a few times, actually. Smiling Friends is legitimately kind of scary on multiple occasions.
Okay, I guess I'll just go now.
They go out of their way to
3D skeleton, my beloved.
as distinct looking as
I got.
possible.
Is that nigga on fucking Discord? What? Oh my god. I gotta watch this show, man.
Gwimbly looks like he came straight out of a PS1 game. Low resolution with jittering Z-buffer and everything. Troglor looks like a PlayStation 6 game with over 1 quadrillion...
And he's playing Rust. I was wondering what game that was.
Icon of modern gaming. He's quick. He's smart.
Hey, yeah, don't shoot that, please.
But they don't just limit it to CGI. There's a lot of stop animation too.
Living snowman, huh? Alright, I know how to fix this.
If Smiling Friends is hand-drawn at its core, The Amazing World of Gumball is predominantly... Okay, actually, I don't know how they made this, but I don't think there's a better example of a show that's
Amazing show.
different styles and mediums together so unapologetically. The photorealistic environments coupled with 2D protagonists and a wide variety of 3D side characters makes for a series with a style that is truly impossible to replicate. Nothing about this world makes any kind of sense, but that is very much the point, which is reflected in its use of mixed mediums. And I definitely did not take any artistic inspiration from them. The mishmash of mismatched styles shows up in a lot of indie animation as well, like on Deadly Comics channel, who is particularly good at this, or on Max G's series Brain Dump, with a 3D animated protagonist and environment with 2D facial features and side characters. And I definitely did not take any artistic inspiration. Thank you to Steve Adderton, Lysandra, and
Deadly Comics thumbs up, Hot Diggity Demon thumbs down. Why? I don't know either of them. I can't judge here. Anyway, this is Cam Wing. If y'all could please, if y'all enjoyed this little sharing of it, throw him a like. I mean, I am a drop in the bucket compared to this nigga, but please, I want to do the right thing. Throw him a like. It's a good video. But yeah, nah, dude. This is this is pointed out virtually every issue I have had with the broader lack of understanding of the intricacies of this medium. It's so fucking dope. Dooley's a similar YouTuber to this one, gets more onto the technical side of artistic creations. I think he commented on this. Yeah, Dooley's video. He actually he mentioned him briefly earlier in the video, and he actually came down. He was like, "Holy shit, you explain this way better than I ever could. That's crazy." But I've only ever seen Dooley in passing. I don't think have I seen any of his videos? I did see the one he did on I saw the one he did on Puss in Boots, I think. Yeah, I gotta. God, I'm so glad I'm starting to get back into fucking YouTube shit, dude. There's one on smears. Oh, fucking love smears. Elijah Lemert videos. 1 second. No, not Twitch chat pronouns. Ooh. The legal euphoric seltzer with a dark twist. Hold on. Very recent. Actually, this dude's channel just started fucking 2 months ago when he already has fucking 75K? What the fuck? Hold on.
I just spent a year of my life trying to secure a free vacation at Universal Studios from timeshare scammers. Along the way, they tried to bribe me for my silence and even went as far as to offer me $dollars so I would just stop calling them. This is my story. Look, I love scams, and since I'm not famous enough yet to start my own, diving into other people's dirty work has become one of my favorite pastimes. To shooting the half-court shot, and
I'm gonna give this a minute before I switch up.
Across the ocean to
Holy mother of dark packs, right? Like, damn, nigga.
Scams. And surprisingly, the most frustrating and intricate one I've come across wasn't via text
Ooh,
message
Fantastic Planet. That's a good movie
or
too.
New influencer product, but inside of a promo tent at a 5K designed for dogs. It was at Tom McCall Waterfront Park during a grant event called Doggy Dash, where I was called over to try my luck at a free trip to Las Vegas. And I don't know if it was my crippling gambling addiction or just love of free things, but there's no way I could have said no to that guy calling me over to that tent. So I approached the booth, confirmed that I was over the age of 25, and they handed me 2 giant wooden dice. And I rolled doubles on my very first try. I won. And not just a trip to Las Vegas, but an even more enticing getaway to LA to go to Universal Studios for free. Home of super.
Hold on. He rolled. Also, welcome back, Speedy Aquas. He rolled the dice to win a game, and through the game that he won a scam vacation.
For Mario World, Jurassic Park, and this guy. And better yet, all I had to do to get my free vacation was give them a $40 deposit and attend a timeshare presentation with the company Vacations International. In my defense, they said that refund was totally refundable. And all I had to do was prove that my girlfriend and I made over $50,000 collectively. But wait, it can't be that simple. It sounds too good to be true.
Why are they verifying his income?
And if you're thinking, oh, well, it's a timeshare, of course it's a scam. You're not alone. I mean, timeshares don't have the best reputation.
Tonight about timeshares. People looking to sell their vacation homes promised a quick sale. That never happens.
Families right here in Northeast Ohio out thousands of dollars.
Also new at 6 tonight, 3 people have
The mark needs to be valuable enough after all.
Resale scam.
Sue McConnell with the Cleveland Better Business Bureau says more timeshare owners are reporting these kinds of scams.
So yes, Vacations International is a timeshare company, but they make sure to advertise themselves as one of the good ones. Even on the first page of their website, there's an entire section that reads, VI Resorts is an owner-controlled vacation club dedicated to providing memorable experiences with choice and flexibility.
Ah, yes, one of the good ones, yeah.
Is key. According to the timeshareauthority.com, and who am I to question the authorities, the company is actually credited with developing the very first timeshare point system, which is an innovation.
As a German, I have some stories to tell about that. It's interesting how he goes up with a little hand gesture too. I don't know, nigga. Oh my god.
That would change the landscape of timeshares going forward. And I didn't really know how to segue into the history of VI, so I'm just gonna do a hard cut to me pretending to be a reporter because I think it's kind of funny. For VI Resorts, it all started in the 1950s when Robert Burns, alongside 5 other families, squeezed 25 people into one cabin in Washington.
Are we committed to this?
That initial purchase is what gave Boeing engineers Big Bobby Burns and his partner Bob Redenberg the idea to start.
I'm surprised at how intrigued I am by this. I normally would never click this.
Them as beachfront leasehold condos. That eventually led to the purchase of a 72-unit motel turned 40-year right-to-use timeshare and the birth of Vacations International in 1974. Today, VI claims over 42,000 members with reach across the US and Mexico, fueled by strategic moves such as a $6 million loan from Colebrook Financial and a few controversial mergers, such as one in 2012 with Avia West Resort Club shortly after Burns' passing. At this point in my research, I was skeptical of a few things, all revolving around the same fundamental question. Are VI's claims too good to be true? First off, with reviews like this one from local guide Val, I began to worry that even if I did...
I will not do it again, but it's not a scam. This got back from my Vegas trip, direct flights, 2-night hotel stays. Kept our deposit, could Mexico upgrade from our original trip spending Cabo. Chose Vegas for Cabo sales. Our total would be a motel in the bad part of town. We spent 2 to 3 days traveling. It's been lovely. Got through that terrible timeshare pitch. Vegas hotel was off the Rio, off the strip, one of the most dated hotels in need of a huge remodel.
Go on a vacation, it wouldn't be free. Second,
what the fuck is even a timeshare? Is this a weird name for a vacation rental? Yeah, basically, it's they market it as a as a permanent ownership. So it's they market it as partial ownership of a property that you can access for a limited period of time during the year, and you're able to use your time every year. I think it's usually average like a couple of weeks, and whatever their network of buildings are, you're able to have the right to access that property for that period of time, and they sell it to you as a permanent thing for some fucking reason. I don't know. I guess it sounds more appealing because it's a guaranteed way of accessing lodging wherever you are, but also like, yeah, no, it's just a rental effectively.
Prioritize choice and flexibility, but you can look up hundreds of reviews claiming the exact opposite.
The hotels are usually fancier.
Give them a year's notice for any vacation. And third, they're claiming that they are owner-run. What does
Also,
that mean
I'm sorry, I don't want to be this nigga, but I'm going to be this nigga for a second. Does this nigga have an SM7B? Is that what model mic that is? And it's set. I'm not going to be a dick. I'm going to shut up.
What extent? After all,
I feel mean. With that kind of quality, yeah, I want to be an asshole, but like, what the fuck? Holy shit!
That their number one priority above anything else is continuing to get more.
I'm going to be that guy.
Revenue. So what incentive do the 42,000 owners have to continue this rate of expansion? I thought that maybe I could get all of those answers as well as my free trip to Universal after.
It's his first video. My USB-C mic sounds better. My USB 2 mic, when I had the snowball, it sounded better, bro.
After I attended the sales pitch, but buckle up because what I experienced was so much worse than.
Okay, to be fair, mine of the Sennheiser. All right, nigga, shut the fuck up. Anyway.
And I was expecting pretty bad. Just look at examples of these sales videos from.
Actually, I know you thought you was slick. I never heard of a USB-C microphone. You ain't slick. You ain't slick, bougie ass nigga. Say no. Listen, it was just 200 euros, nigga. Bougie ass nigga. You migrated from a snowball as well? Yeah, I had a snowball at first. Honestly, the snowball was still pretty solid. And this was before fucking that was before I knew anything about EQ. I would honestly, if shit were to hit the fan and this microphone were to explode, I'd go back to the snowball and probably just wouldn't get another mic until I were able to get an upgraded Shure or something. Most likely. Nah, I'd probably get a new mic.
I don't really know how to segue into the history of.
If anything, I'm the bougie one in comparison. You've demonstrated that clearly. I didn't want to commit to an XLR mic. Yeah, I was spooked by it. Gotta go have a good one, YouTubers. Thanks so much for stopping by. I'll follow up with you on the code later. Thank you again. Or actually, you know what? We got ads in a minute anyway. Let me run that now. And then I think we might end up finishing this video. And then while I'm waiting on the ads, I'll follow up with you on the thing. On the friend request. And I'm actually want to see if I can fucking find that video again. And I don't know if we'll watch it today, but we might save that for another show stream. Give me 1 second. Let me take myself off invisible. Steam. Visible online. Come on. Here we go. And then you said. Glad I ain't forget about that. Boom. All right. Thank you. Take care. No, thank you, dude. You take it easy, man. I'll talk to you later. All right, that's good. Let me close this. Okay. Ads are 30 seconds in. There's a chill stream, so we can do whatever. Are your clothes rechargeable too? Oh shit! Funny $1,300 mic. Do studios use mics of that price tag? Oh god, I do remember you showing me that, John. But damn, that's crazy. Is it even? To be fair, I got it for free. That's Clash. Studio mics easily top 3K. That's still. I mean, once you're spending over $1,000 on a single piece of equipment, I don't know where the nuances come in.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna do a hard cut to me pretending to be a reporter because I think it's kind of funny.
Oh shit, it went backward. Hold on. I think we're around here.
I thought that maybe I could get all of those answers as well as my free trip to Universal after I attended the sales pitch, but buckle up because what I experienced was so much worse than I was expecting, and I was expecting pretty bad. Just look at examples of these sales videos from other timeshare companies.
At the presentation, we were told again that we had qualified for this complimentary travel, right? And then we were asked to pay $150 for that travel. We did pay the money, but instead of getting any kind of complimentary travel, instead we were sent these. Is this a ticket?
These are the certificates from the third-party marketing company.
So is that a ticket? Is that my complimentary travel?
The state received hundreds of complaints alleging deceptive sales practices. And we found multiple civil suits filed against both companies, including one from a former employee who claimed she was told to lie to potential customers to close deals.
All of our clients walk into our sales room going,
That doesn't surprise
I don't
me.
want to be here. I don't want to buy anything. I'm not interested in what you have to say. And our job is to take that client, completely turn him around, manipulate him, massage him, make him fall in love with us.
You're just like a doctor, a nurse, a fireman, a policeman, a lifeguard. They all save lives.
High sales tactics usually revolve around the...
Oh my god, and it works! It works too! It works too!
idea of making somebody uncomfortable.
Manipulate him.
Make them feel like the only way that they can get out of the situation is to either give you the sale that you're asking for or something close to it. You know, contact information to a friend.
I've fallen for this. I've fallen for this before. Like it's crazy how like when you're engaged with someone that's like in sales, right? Like you got to understand like they are like trained in very specific, very subtle manipulation tactics. And whenever there's always this sort of weight that people attach to the phrase manipulation tactic because they always think it's in the context of like outwardly like very clear, very explicit like abuse type scenarios. But there's also situations where it's not so much I guess it's still abuse. It depends on how far you want to take the definition. But the point is not whether or not the definition of abuse or the term I was about to say, coercion, is invalid or not. It's more so about like how much weight does that like how much benefit, how much gain is being exchanged by someone engaging in these kinds of tactics, right? Because I've been in sales engagements with car salesmen. I've been in contracts where I had like this fucking personal shit done before, and like they will like say any sort of thing. They will compliment you. They will like try to pick at your situation. It will ask you questions to sort of gain an understanding of your financial situation. If they give a fuck, if they're just able to lock you into a contract, regardless of how much money they may think you have, they won't give a fuck. They will go into so many different directions in order to like, and they'll be very subtle and friendly with it. They'll do so in a way that's not even appropriately like broadcasted. It'll go right over the head of someone that's not tuned into those dynamics, and it works on a lot of people. And the thing is, the way they're talking in this example right here, where they're saying like, you're a hero, you're a firefighter, like they manage to get you into a lulled, lower sense of security by talking about things that they deem as positive and associating you with those things and gradually pulling you from an entirely different set of conversations into one where they have potential to benefit if they manage to land this sale. And they're very sneaky with it. And you'll see these people in a whole bunch of different contexts, but I would say in the context of timeshare, it's especially demonic. I'll say it that way.
A promise that you'll circle back. And that certainly was the feeling that I had during this pitch that we're about to get into. And you should also know that we weren't allowed to bring any microphones or cameras into the sales pitch, which we weren't going to do anyway because this wasn't going to be a video until the pitch actually happened. I also didn't think that we would get bribed to not post anything on social media after it concluded. On top of that, Washington, where we did this, is a two-party consent state, and I am a law-abiding citizen, which by the way means I can't really go full spy fox and wear a wire without the other person knowing, but they
For the record, he got that for the Spy Fox reference. That's all. Nothing else of note. That's all. That's all. That's all. The rest of this video can be dog shit. He gets my sub for the Spy Fox reference. That's all. Anyway.
He didn't say I couldn't take rigorous notes and recreate it using my new friend Miguel on Fiverr. So when I show you this recreation of the sales pitch, just know that everything is alleged and definitely not a legal accusation. So please don't sue me.
It had been about 2 weeks since I wrote those dice, and it was finally time to get my free vacation. I was admittedly nervous as we drove to the large, nondescript office building mysteriously lacking any signage whatsoever, but we approached the mirror-like door nonetheless. After a minute or two, we were buzzed in and asked by the person at the front desk to flash them a major credit card. So I did. I think they do
this is really well edited for us for this video.
Come to actually purchase what they're going to try to sell you. And once all my credit card information was stolen, we were left sitting in a waiting room where there was an old TV playing what looked like an early 90s ad for a Hawaiian resort on repeat. I guess to get us in the mood for vacationing or something like that.
Early
and we weren't the only people
90s?
waiting, but we were some of the lucky few who actually made it into the presentation. There was a woman who was forcibly escorted out because she came alone instead of with a partner. After that, everyone was just sitting in silence waiting for them to bring us to the next stage of this pitch. And that took about 10 minutes or so before we were led into a large conference room where we got our first look at the setup. There were about 8 separate tables, snacks, water, food, loud music, all the things that you'd expect from a timeshare pitch. More importantly though, there were 4 salespeople circling the room like sharks, with one main sales manager standing in the front of the room. And one of those sales guys, I forgot his name, so let's just call him Zach. A big buff dude with a poorly done photorealistic tattoo of his daughter covering his entire upper arm led us to our table and explained that if we so much as looked at our phones, we would be kicked out. When we sat down, he sat with us. And then he asked us to latch our chairs together, because for some reason, the chairs had little latches that stuck together like a mini bench. He told us this was to foster unity during the pitch, but honestly it felt more like a tactic to keep us from fleeing. The first thing that he had us do was individually fill out some surveys that asked where our dream vacation was and how many vacations we take a year, you know, things like that. As soon as we finished, Zach made sure to let me know that if I didn't want to lose my girlfriend who was sitting right next to me, I needed to make sure to take her everywhere on her list. And she didn't refute that, but honestly at this point, everything was what we expected it to be, besides that whole latch chair situation. We talked to Zach for probably 10 more minutes before it was time for the main event.
It gets so much worse. I'm honestly kind of scared.
Sales manager.
So far, this has been par for the course from what I've expected from these kinds of presentations. And he's communicating it pretty effectively. But in terms of like how it can get worse, I don't know. I'm kind of scared.
Greg. His pitch was probably a little over a half an hour, but it was definitely the most fun part of what became a really...
Also, I'd like to troubleshoot this while we're ahead. Hold on 1 second. I don't like how this looks. Let's I can throw the scan lines back on. 1 second. Let me see if I can. Okay. I'll just have to deal with a little bit of square. No deal. All right, we should be good. Sorry about that.
Long and disturbing experience. He started off by showing us pictures of the properties that they own, and for whatever reason pointed out during a particular slide that his grandchild was actually conceived in the very suite that we were looking at.
Nigga, what?
Greg, why did we need to know that? During this, Greg was writing on a whiteboard describing the deadly costs of taking vacations without the help of a service like VI Resorts. He was explaining that people die sooner, they're hard to give out, you know, all these terrible things happen if you don't take enough vacations per year. And I think Greg forgot to get some erasers before the pitch because he ended up using an entire unrolled paper towel roll to wipe the numbers off the board before we could get a good look at what he was even trying to communicate.
Oh no.
But he did throw in something really interesting that we'll get to later about how you can actually just take loans out with VI so you don't need to worry about your credit score.
Oh, that's the reddest flag they put out there. Oh shit.
Different anecdotal stories, my favorite of which is how his first wife actually divorced him because
that's how they do it
instead of on a real vacation. Like, look, Greg, man, I'm not sold that was the only reason. The cherry on top was his dramatic 10-minute story about his blue-collar father who worked non-stop, never with the family, always with the job, always with the phone, ended up getting very sick, and on his deathbed looked him in his eyes, and his last words were, I wish I would have taken more vacations with you. like, come on. There's just no way that happened. Once we finished up with the sitcom interpretation of a timeshare presentation, we were tossed back to Zach, who began getting into the numbers with us. And don't worry, I'll break those down later on. But just know they were so crazy and predatory that I let out a tiny laugh, which I could tell kind of hurt Zach's feelings. He let out a little whimper and was like, oh man, why are you laughing?
That nigga did not say that? No, I believe it.
And when I explained to him how the numbers he gave me made no sense, he just threw his arms up in the air and said, I don't know, I'm not the numbers guy. And that was really the last time we got to speak to Zach, because they began rotating the salespeople to other couples in the room. And our next guy was pretty quick with us. He asked me if I was just in it for the free trip, and I said yes, and he was like, okay, and left shortly after. But that interaction triggered our final boss, the closer, an older man whose name I will never forget, Jerry. Jerry, who looked like a more geriatric version of the KFC guy fused with the stock photo guy, started off fine, with him asking Juliana several times about what she did for work. I'm guessing that he was trying to prove that she actually had income, and once he was happy with that, he continued to talk nonsense to us for a while, nothing really relating to the timeshare. At some point, he shared some strange picture he took years ago of the moon.
What the fuck, that's my name?
Finally segueing back into the timeshare pitch. But where Jerry went wrong was when he was leaving our table, because he looked at me and he said, lots of my coworkers have been talking about your hair. Yeah, I like it. You know what? If I had your hair back in my day, I'd have been lynched. And
what? Yo! Oh shit, hold up, what?
Lots of my coworkers have been talking about your hair. Yeah, I like it. You know what? If I had your hair back in my day, I'd have been lynched. And walked away. We were a bit sunlocked and talked to each other about what else he could have said, but ultimately determined that we could not have both misheard him. And you know, Juliana rightfully wanted to talk to the sales manager immediately, but there was one little problem. We didn't have our flight certificates yet, and I came for a free trip. Being told my hair should get me lynched or not, I'm going on a free trip. About 50.
That is not the sentence I thought I'd be hearing with this video. Holy fucking shit. Oh my god. Holy shit.
15 minutes later, a guy approached us with some papers containing trip information, and I quickly realized I was getting rerouted and they were not in fact going to provide me any trip details on this day, but instead give me a certificate to redeem with another company and new villain, Casablanca Express. I'll get into the ridiculous requirements to actually take the trip in a little bit, but before we could leave, we did feel compelled to mention what Jerry had said to the sales manager, Greg. And honestly, I never could have guessed his reaction. When we told him what happened, he said, oh my, that's terrible. Who said that to you? Was it Jerry? We were both a little shocked that he knew who it was before we even told him who actually said it, but we confirmed it was Jerry, and he responded, well, he's of another time, and he's probably gonna die soon anyway, so let's not worry about this too much. You know what? No, hold on. I'm dead serious, by the way. He really said that. And then scurried off into his office, only to emerge a few minutes later holding our true prize. 5 $10 Olive Garden gift cards. It was
oh my God.
And he made sure to let us know, because when he handed them to me, he actually said, you know what? I'm jealous of you. You're lucky this happened. These are great. Let's just make sure this doesn't go on social media.
Ah!
Greg. Now, this game is not about Jerry and it's not about Greg, but you may or may not be surprised to learn that Jerry has a history of doing things just like this, such as this review from Cheryl from Longview, Washington. In fact, I had a shockingly similar...
Hold on, I want to read that. Signed up at the Portland RV show for a free trip. We're told to the watch a presentation by VI in Vancouver. Told the person never seen the drawing. I had seen the presentation. When my boyfriend was chastised for being Jerry, who then told me that I was not married to my boyfriend who attended with me. I need to pull up my bank account on my phone and prove I could purchase something. I refused and was angry. Several other salespeople apologized, and one asked me not to give a bad review of his name because his view was inappropriate. Not purchased anything, left with a certificate for the trip. Got a certificate, was contacted by Casablanca. Double trip I had won. Oregon until 3 or 4 months later in September. Made the res in September, took time off work. BF took time off work. 2 days ahead, I called the Embarcadero. They had nothing and told me to call Vacation International. The person I talked to, Sherry, said it's certificate. Jesus.
Experience to Cheryl. Jerry also had us pull out Juliana's phone, prove that she had some sort of an income, and then harassed us about it because he didn't believe us. And when they complained to Greg, the sales manager, all that he did was say, oh yeah, that's Jerry. He's old and can be inappropriate. It's exactly what happened to me. And checking in with the Better Business Bureau, VA Resorts actually has a B-, while the company we're about to get into, Casablanca, has a B+, which honestly are not nearly as bad as I would expect. That is until you get to the little section of over 200 official customer complaints between the two of them in just the last 3 years alone. Oh, and in case you were wondering how VI even gets away with just giving you a certificate to a different equally toxic travel agency,
I was wondering about that.
Really giving you what they promise you, rest assured everything is perfectly legal. After all, VI does in fact give you a certificate that's redeemable for a free vacation, but there's more catches than Michael Thomas had in 2019. And I'm not done talking about Casablanca Express, but I do want to circle back to VI because I really want to understand their business model. So between my conversations with their corporate office, the multiple conversations I had with their local reps, and their public offering statement that they were required by law to have on their website, I was able to put together a good enough picture of how they operate to share with all of you. Okay, so let's start with the requirements to attend a sales pitch. First off, you have to go with a partner. It looked online like there was a few instances where that's not the case, but again, let's look at these reviews where it is very explicitly said that if you don't have a partner, you're not able to go. Second, you have to guarantee that you and your partner collectively make about $50,000, which maybe you could look at that as a safety net. After all, it is somewhat a standard practice in this industry. But if you really just stop and think about it, you'll realize that in absolutely no way is this a safety net for the consumer. It is a bare minimum estimation of the amount of credit that you might be able to apply for, which is a little bit more insidious.
Side note, I'll take back my my judgment on his microphone. I think that's one of Shore's USB microphones. I don't think that's a SMB7.
When you think about who their main
or
audience
SM7B.
is, it's really just older folks or lower income blue collar.
I could be wrong. I'm just going to make that assumption here.
Family or their grandchildren. But when you look at the,
I don't think the XLR models have that light.
It's almost impossible for these people to do it without taking out loans, which I believe is pretty key here, because if VI really just wants to talk to customers who are not financially educated enough to understand that they're going to take out one of the highest interest loans I've ever seen. But okay, enough tiptoeing around. Let's get into the actual costs. There are 3 tiers of membership at VI: bronze, silver, and gold. And for the low price of $17,049 and a down payment of $4,263, you can get yourself 130 points, which is their entry-level tier. This gets you the esteemed bronze ownership badge. I don't think they really give you a badge, but you get the idea. Silver tier is a bit pricier at around $19,924 for 153 points. But if you want to be like me in Valorant, gold tier, you can pay a whopping $30,940 for, get this, also 153 points.
We have a problem.
But these 153 points are special. You see, they're permanent points, which is a bit unclear, admittedly, because in their public offering statement, they say that bronze tier is 45.5 to 105, silver is 106 to 210, gold is 211 to 315, with platinum at 316 and above, with the caveat that you purchase permanent points. So I think what that means is that you really don't enter into these categories until you pay almost double what they sell you as an initial investment. And you're probably wondering the same thing I was wondering when I was looking into this. What are permanent points even? Well, according to their public statement, the promoter intends to offer for sale permanent VI points. I couldn't, no one knows all that. So essentially non-permanent points are just points that expire after the 40-year right to use situation. And don't give
40
me, well,
years.
at least they're transparent. No, that's not transparent. Remember when I was just ranting a minute ago about their target customer?
That's actually a really good point to sit on for a second that I wasn't thinking about before. When they do sell these things, like they do, like it's not just like, and this is part of like the marketing aspect versus the just selling it as a vacation type thing. Like they're not just marketing it, like they really are trying to sell it as a piece of property rather than as a time slot as it literally is. And when you're selling a piece of property versus any other good or exchange, this is why they have people specially trained in all these fucking goofy ass tactics. They're doing it for a product or a asset, or in this case there is no asset, it's just fucking nothing. But they're doing it in a way that is designed to be an extremely long-term investment. So a 40-year window for a $30,000 loan, which by itself, like if you just think about interest rates and shit for a second, right? A $30,000 loan is a mid-range car note or like a low-range car note. Why the fuck would that be required to have a 40-year term or anything remotely close to that? If you have a card over $30,000 and it's going beyond anything past like a 6 to 10 year extension, you're being scammed off the interest. And 40 years off a $30,000 principal? Jesus Christ. Like, it's bad.
And how insanely high those interest rates are. The reason I'm so upset about that is because they don't care about your credit, because VI will happily facilitate a loan for you. Isn't that nice? No matter what your credit score is, you get equality. You get the same interest rate of 17.9%.
Oh my God.
17.9%. That high of an interest rate combined with instant approvals, which they do, definitely targets customers who are not really understanding what that's going to do to them long term, especially when you have such intense, emotionally torturous sales tactics. I should also mention that that's not your only option. You can pay them half of your total investments to get reduced interest, but most people don't have about $8,000, $9,000 to just throw in. And I think what makes this worse is that they don't report the interest earned to credit bureaus.
What?
Or at least allegedly. You see, I went back a few months ago to talk to Greg, the sales manager who offered me those Olive Garden gift cards, to just gather a little bit more information. And luckily, he didn't remember me because I was probably the 5th person he'd done that to then that day. But he did let me know that his boss, whose name was Mike or something like that, allegedly just makes a fortune on collecting this interest, which again, that's not illegal. It's just kind of messed up, Mike. And the way that they do this is by using a billing company called Equiant. Greg was more than happy to tell me for some reason. And I know what you're thinking, using Equiant as a payment processor and collecting that interest, but not disclosing where that money's going probably sounds a little bit illegal, but it's really not. At least probably. I mean, if it is illegal, my bad for ratting, man. Sorry.
Hold on. I won't Google them for a second. I wonder. Hold on. Oh, and they're predatory as fuck too. They file lawsuits, dude. Oh man. Oh yeah, no, they're fucked up. Hold on. Oh wait, are these? No, 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 no. They're the defendant. Oh no, never mind. Oh shit. They're the defendants here. Hold on. I'm not getting details on the cases here, but it looks like these are, yeah, no, they're being sued a lot. I wanted to follow up and check them because I wanted to know, and their reputation seems pretty low. So I wanted to see. I wonder. Yeah, they're almost always a defendant, at least in the ones listed here. I wanted to follow up on that, and see if they had any trials like that, because it'd be one thing. Like it's already fucked up that they exist in this capacity, but it'd be another thing entirely if they have this predatory ass structure and they were able to have the sort of I don't know if it would just be financial backing or be able to just have to have especially predatory people on the legal side as well. But I was wondering if they had people that a robust enough legal center to their operations to where not only are they issuing out these loans and getting people to sign up for it without the awareness of how predatory the fucking interest rates are, but also they would sue if you try to back out. Because a lot of people that issue out loans in this kind of way, they will like follow up on you in a certain way. Whereas like, you know, if you just like a credit card company, if you ignore their debt, they have the option to either take the debt and sell it off to a different creditor, and they may or may not report you to the bureaus. But also in this case here, if they have you on lock for that, and they were to, and I think this is why they're not necessarily reporting you to the bureaus. They may just don't want that sort of liability attached to them by like having just being on their radar, but with how shady the shit is that they're doing. But you know, it seems like with this that like they if they were to follow up and just have people actively seek out people that weren't paying or seek out people that weren't following through on the terms of the loan, mother of God, that would be like they're already demonic, but that would be like 18th circle type shit. I was kind of scared, but it looks like the courts are going in the right direction with those, so that's fine.
About that. But really, I just want to leave this here because I'm not educated enough to talk about the fact that the U.S. doesn't require all legal lenders to report to credit bureaus. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it is what it is. If someone can explain that, comment. And I want to dive a little bit more into their point system. And let's refer back to their public offering statement. VI operates as a trust for U.S. properties and Mexican real property trusts for its resorts in Mexico. And like most timeshares, their company is based off right to use rather than actual property ownership, which really, really complicates the value of resale of your properties. Because even in my sales presentation, VI claimed that after you were done paying off the thing that you bought, whatever price bracket it is, you can just close your account and be done with your timeshare. But that's a little bit complicated because of how these points work. When you purchase a package, regardless of the tier, points are paid out according to the level that you purchased into. And what they do is they allow short-term usage of VI's properties. But there's always a catch. I mean, you don't just keep the points that you purchase, there's a maintenance fee attached to them. Right now, those maintenance fees are $8.80 per point, which are of course subject to increase or decrease, likely increase over time. And these fees must be paid annually regardless of timeshare usage, meaning an owner with 153 points would pay $1,346 a year with the current rates, which you might be thinking, maybe that's not too bad. Well, that is until you consider that in most cases, you won't be able to take a vacation your first year, especially because you're not buying permanent points below the gold tier. All that you're really buying is a term of ownership for a term of ownership. And let's say that you do the bronze tier according to their promotional flyer, which is a light investment of $17,049. And let's be generous and say that you can put down that $4,000 down payment right away. You're essentially left with $12,700 and an interest rate of 17.9%, which I don't mean to be nitpicky here, but that's a true total of over $25,000. And with the given monthly payment that they attach, that is a 10-year commitment. What's worse is that that doesn't even factor in your maintenance fees. If you follow the plan and you pay off exactly the amount every month that they recommend, you're going to be paying an extra $11,000 in maintenance fees over that 10-year term. 10 years later, you've paid $39,000 for probably 10 vacations, which funny enough is not even including the owner's nightly tax. And you know what else
What?
that doesn't factor in, as I was hinting to just a moment ago, is the reduced advanced reservation waitlist fee, which can vary from $50 to $100 if you want to book a year in advance. You might be wondering, why would you book a year in advance? Why would you have to pay that fee to book if you already own the points for these timeshares? Just quickly revisit all of those reviews complaining that you can't book out before a year. But hey, at least you're an owner.
That's so dumb, it makes me mad.
Because remember what I said? The company is owner-run, so you obviously have a say in operations and in how much
Oh,
you're spending,
shit.
right? I mean, in most companies, being owner-run means that they have an elected board that makes decisions. Usually that elected board represents the bigger population so that you're able to actually make good changes to the company. But also, like in most cases, this is just a scam. This is just a facade to make you think that they value you as a customer. All that this really does is give a few people that are owner elected officials the opportunity to come together and pitch things to corporate. On a phone call I had with VI's corporate office, the example that they gave me was recently they changed it so that you're not allowed to have any pets in any of their resorts, which is a little bit odd. I mean, a lot of people bring pets on vacations, but the real reason is because it lowers the deep cleaning fee that they have to do after every single visit. And if you think about that for a minute, all that they did was sacrifice their pet so that they'd have to pay a little bit less on maintenance fees. So VI being owner-run really just means that the owners get to beg for lower fees, and not much beyond that. I don't know about you, but I trust VI being owner-run about as much as I trust Dan Schneider to watch my kids. But enough about VI. After that, they turned me off. I was done with them. I started dealing with another company, the company I keep referencing, Casablanca Express. And my introduction to them wasn't very romantic. I mean, I was leaving a sales pitch with 6 things in my hand, 5 Olive Garden gift cards, and this, which is just a list of the insane requirements I need to fulfill in order to go on my trip. What are those requirements, you ask? Well, let's take a look. There's a lot on here, so I'm just going to cut to the chase. In order to get my free vacation, I have to send them a $100 fully refundable validation deposit that has to be in form of check, money order, or cash, which I did. After that, I have to, send them another $120, $60 per person to cover the taxes that might be taken out of the trip. Surely after $220, my trip would be processed, right? Well, don't get ahead of yourself. Because for the next step, I have to become a salesperson and pitch the company, which makes total sense until you realize you have to pitch on 2 separate dates that are 30 days apart, either a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, and not within 7 days of any federally recognized holiday. Your date range becomes a little bit smaller. And don't get this mistaken, this is not a simple process. This entire thing took me around 7 months. But eventually, after sending out more sketchy money orders than Donald Trump, I was called by a travel agent who told me that my dates were approved.
Yo, I don't think you understand what this means, bro. It might have been a hard. Do you understand what this means?
It was a few months after that when I found myself waiting in a particularly long line at Walgreens, and I thought to myself, I haven't heard back from these travel agency people in months. So why not wait in 2 lines at once? I called, waited on the hold line, and eventually got in contact with this guy named Hal. And he let me know he was in charge of my trip, everything would be perfectly taken care of, and that he would call me back to figure out the details. But he couldn't help right now because things were still processing. You know, these things take time. Be patient, man. I do get a call back from Hal, who let me know that my trip was a huge disappointment and definitely not worth taking. And those are his words, not mine. He let me know that this whole certificate situation was pretty much a scam, but to not worry because Hal, he got me. I mean, it was pretty simple, honestly, the way he told it to me. All I had to do was give him an extra $100 and he would make the trip worth taking. Better yet, I could pay him a couple $1,000s to go to an exotic resort overseas. And all I had to do was pay for the airfare. Although that would mean I was subject to the same rules, they are subject to cancellation at their own will. And you know, as tempting as that was, I decided to stand my ground and stick with my original trip. To say he was shocked would probably be a little bit of an understatement, and he proceeded to paint the most terrible image of a trip I could really imagine. Let me know I'd be leaving on a red-eye flight.
That's not hard with a
LA,
Fantasia.
probably a few stops in between. After all, it was going to be a budget airline since I didn't want to upgrade. And he made sure to let me know that I wouldn't be alone. I'd be with a bunch of other poor chumps who also fell for the same scam. I mean, he said this was a certificate flight that only left at specific times because they needed to get everyone on board. And I probably wouldn't get there until the morning because when I left at 11, 12, whatever time he told me, we'd have to stop in 4 different places to pick up all those people. And once in LA, I would have to get my own transportation to a probably horrible motel, maybe hotel. I would have one day at Universal before having to drive myself back to the airport and fly out to Universal at 4 a.m. that next morning. And yeah, while the details were a bit alarming, All that I really heard is that I could get this trip. So I said I was in. He let me know I'd be getting contact with the details of my trip about a month before I left, and then he just hung up, which is not really what happened. About a month before the trip, I started a mission, a dangerous and regrettable mission to secure my airline tickets. More specifically, just to get any information about this trip I'm allegedly going on. I probably ended up calling them 20 to 30 times, sitting for like 30 to 40 minutes regularly over that month, and literally being hung up whenever I asked for any clarity on what was happening. I mean, one of the people got so frustrated at me just asking for where my trip details were that they said they were going to escalate it to their manager, and it got rerouted to the same person. They obviously tried to ditch me to dump me off to somebody else. But my prayers were finally answered by my new travel agent, because Hal was removed from my case. Maybe their manager requested that I had some special treatment or something at this point. My new agent, Jonathan, called me and let me know that my trip details were ready to finalize again. But before he did that, he really dug in and emphasized how terrible of an experience this would be for me. He went as far as to try to buy me out of the trip. I'm not joking. They offered me $400 on top of my full deposit back to just stop calling them. And I was a bit confused by this at first. I mean, was I really that annoying? Maybe. But I think the more likely answer is that they didn't expect anyone to do this. They don't expect people to go through the effort to actually get the trip. So that $400 they were offering me would have saved them money, as to not have to actually get me the flights. But that $400 has another purpose, and it's to buy my silence. I mean, literally, when I was talking to Jonathan on the phone, he said, well, we offer this just so you don't leave a bad review. But I was persistent, and I made sure to tell Jonathan, no, I really want to go on this trip. And he told me the same details Hal did about having to go on a red-eye flight, having to go to like 4 different stops, all this other nonsense. But he had an extra twist that the hotel I was going to stay in was actually near Disney, because they didn't have enough people staying near Universal to get the North Hollywood location they usually would. So I'd have to get my own transportation from LAX, drive all the way to Anaheim to get my Universal tickets from an office, and then drive back to North Hollywood and able to go to Universal. Of course I was still in. And at this point, it was probably just under 2 weeks until my trip. He told me that I would have my details and my finalized information by the next Monday. And when that didn't happen, I began to call back again, even more frequently. And after getting hung up on, being called stupid, transferred to empty lines, I eventually got through to somebody 3 days before my trip. I let them know I had absolutely zero confirmation, but they assured me
everything gonna be airy.
Regardless of my concerns, I would have everything on time. And when I asked them, what happens if I don't receive anything on time? They literally hung up the phone. So who are these customer service? Who is Casablanca Express? Well, Casablanca Express started in the 1980s as tour bus operators. They initially offered midweek trips to Las Vegas, Tahoe, and Reno. And their founders worked quick to establish connections with hotels, resorts, different agencies. They grew quickly in the 80s, amounting 35 tour buses that traveled excited tourists between Las Vegas and different locations. And they no longer operate tour buses, but they still remain a small family-owned business. They also note on their website that they have an A on the Better Business Bureau, but I mean, they don't. They have B, like, it's not even A- really. Like, and they have a pretty close relationship with a lot of different timeshare companies. I mean, they found out that just taking in a bunch of people who want timeshares and upgrading their trips is a pretty effective way to make money. But they don't really have the best relationship with all their time for friends. After all, they sued Wyndham in 2010, which is just evidence that when they're called out for their shady business practices, they're like, oh no, not us. But then they continue to work with equally as evil companies. But enough about that. Let's get to the trip. To my surprise, I did receive my tickets 16 hours before I was supposed to go. And remember, this was on a Wednesday. So that entire week, I kept telling my boss, like, oh, I don't know, maybe I'll be taking time off. Who knows? I don't know if I have the tickets yet.
Why is there an alpaca here? Anyway.
But honestly, when I got the tickets, that's when everything started to look up. Because that $400 they tried to bribe me with was not the only attempt they had to stop me from leaving a terrible review.
Why not? Good point. Let me not complain about good things. Anyway.
Plane tickets were actually a more convenient time.
Portland Airport be like
all the way to LAX. So I ended up landing in LA around 4 p.m. on Wednesday, which I assume is part of the strategy that they have as collateral to not receive bad reviews from people who don't upgrade. I mean, it's not hard to figure out the certificate flights that they describe to you just don't exist and are only there as a scare tactic to try to get you to upgrade. What they actually do, and the reason I didn't get my tickets until like 16 hours before my flight, was they just wait for people to canceled their flight reservations. After all, certificate flight sounds a lot better than just straight up telling you they're trying to find any abandoned seats from the upcoming flights on that day. The secondary wonderful change is that the hotel they put us in was only 7 minutes away from Universal, even though when they emailed me the number for the hotel, it was a completely different hotel in New York, but we're gonna ignore that. And I was pretty excited until I realized they were telling the truth about the hotel. The very first thing that we saw upon pulling up to our little hotel was a human trafficking warning sign. And I'm not joking. A girl outside of a white van in the parking lot crying. I felt like I was in an Always Sunny sketch. This certainly didn't help my nerves. Why was I nervous, you ask? Well, just look at some of these wonderful Google reviews. But let's let me from the trip actually tell you about the hotel.
Hold on, no, I want to see what they said.
Google reviews. But let's
filthy rooms are filthy, smell like toilet water. Sleeping with roaches, 2 pillows per bed with no support. Mirror above the sink wasn't even cleaned. Toothpaste spit markings. Our sheets had stains in them. No elevator for handicapped persons. Dirty, no blanket. Jesus.
Let's let me from the trip actually tell you about the hotel.
Is this fucking Cribs? It is Cribs.
Hey, I'm Elijah. Welcome to Cribs. I am in a hotel motel situation that Casablanca set up for us, about 15 minutes away from Universal Studios in Los Angeles, California. They gave us the whole deal. I want to give you a little tour. To start off, let's look at the main room. We have a wonderful 1-bedroom where we have a bed and several other fantastic amenities, such as
My left ear is loving this. Just kidding, Elijah's video rocks.
Piece of cloth in
Oh god.
on top of some sort of a
Nah,
hood,
he's doing
as
a good
well
job.
as a absent fire alarm. But hey, that's all just aesthetics. Fire alarms don't actually work anyway. But what does work is this wonderful sink we have in here. Beautiful speckled paint job on. Is that blood? I don't know if that's blood. I don't think it's blood, but it could be. We're going to ignore that for now. We have a toilet, which is great. We have one of those dual flush situations, but only one of them works.
This drone is just fucking ominous, man.
We do have a shower that may or may not work.
This shit
And
don't
honestly,
look right.
overall, we had a pretty good day in LA that first day, though not really to the credit of these certificate flights. But the second day got even better, as to my surprise, the tickets worked. So enjoy this little montage of us going around having fun at Universal.
This fucking guy.
End up staying in that hotel,
Yeah, it is pretty
but
bad.
We did end up making it here.
I've been in some bad motels, none as bad as that.
Also, we didn't really want to.
Maybe it's just the fact that I only ever go on vacations if I had the money for them, but I never skimp out on the hotel. Yeah, no. If I were if I had the money for like regular vacations, like my priority would be to make sure that I can maintain at least a baseline like level of quality. Like if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm not going to skimp out on like the place where I'm sleeping. It just doesn't seem like a good idea across the board. Also, hold on, let me. Why is it doing this shit again? Just need to shrink. There we go. All right, cool. Hotels aren't that expensive even most of the time. Hell, even Airbnb. Not in Europe, but in the US. US hotels vary a lot. I don't think they're god awful.
Leave at 4 a.m. that next day, so we decided just to stay an extra day.
But they can
and
get pretty
go to a
bad.
Laker game and also an LCS playoff game, which is pretty fun. Probably easy to not think about this while watching the
A
video.
what
but
playoff
Laker
game?
and also an
Boo!
LCS playoff game, which is pretty fun. Probably easy to not think about this while watching the video, but this entire process took nearly a year. Actually, now that I think about it, over a year. I still have my deposit back, and it's 2 months. It's been 14 months. Like, just know I couldn't possibly include every phone call I've had. I couldn't possibly include every bit of communication I had with this company, but it was excruciating. And all just to get what they promised me in the park. What's worse is Casablanca made me forget about how bad VI treated me. After all, they literally bribed me with Olive Garden gift cards, which, to think of it, I think there's one more thing I have to do.
And then called you the N-word, like...
So overall, was it worth it? Like, those breadsticks really hit, but I don't think they were worth the trouble that it took to get them. And is this the easiest way to get a free?
Yeah, that's the
Universal?
USB mic.
I mean, maybe, but if you're at home thinking about if you should do this, no, don't, stop. Just please don't do it. It's not worth it. You know what you should do though is like, comment, and share this video if you enjoyed it. And also subscribe to see more like this on the way. But while I have you here, there's a lot of bad in the world today. So in the
Wait, no it's not!
Charities that are just trying to make the world a little bit better of a place. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I'll see you next time from Tokyo?
That was a good video. I normally would not have clicked on this. That was a long story, but that yeah, nah, that shit. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. When it's so funny because it points out the fucking John Oliver video on timeshares too, like right there. Yeah, no, Jesus, nigga. I didn't expect anyone to actually fucking go through this shit. Dear God. Oh, man, that's so dope. Well, not the situation, but nah, he did a good job there. Holy shit, dude. But yeah, no, when, like, I have a couple family members, too, that, like, have a timeshare plan. And they don't feel scammed because they didn't really, like, I don't know. They got what they needed right away. I don't know what it is that's different with their company versus the one that this nigga went to, but that's fucking... That is bad shit, dude. Dear God. Stayed here last year in Rotterdam. Would recommend as well. More expensive, though. Between 90 to 170 per night, depending on when you book. 90 to 170 a night sounds fine. For most rooms. Like, our motels cost that much. Depending on the city you go to here in the States. That's already on the higher end. Maybe U.S. prices are just dog shit. Maybe that's what it boils down to. Hotels are pretty damn cheap. I be wondering how much they be costing, cause like, there's a lot of people that live out of hotels day to day, and like when you factor that in, like someone's paying between $50 and $90 a night. That sounds more expensive in some places. My BF got a Hilton hotel for $150 a night in downtown Miami. But that's because he, for some reason, was granted a platinum Amex. $150 a night in downtown Miami at a Hilton. I wouldn't really know how to judge that price appropriately. Not in Miami. I wouldn't know. Okay, let me check something real fast. For 2 people, obviously. Okay, well that's fair. Alright, let me check a couple things here. I think Alright, yeah. Alright, I wanted to play this one game for a bit to sort of ease things out, but honestly I think I'm just gonna call it a stream for now. Yeah, it's already already at the 4-hour mark. I meant to run for 3. Let me see something real quick before I do close things up though. Give me one moment here. Thank you so much for coming through today. I always feel like y'all niggas have no clue how much like fucking anxiety is just built up when like I fucking am gone for a while and like then I come back and it's like, oh my god, these niggas hate me. These niggas hate me. and then y'all don't. And then you're like, oh hey, he's back. And you're all chilling. I really do appreciate that. All right, let me see. By the way, Arbit, the week schedule going to be permanent? Yes, for the most part. It's mostly based off of my work schedule, and I don't anticipate that to change anytime super duper soon. Frankly, there's a chance because I'm hoping for something to change on the front of one of those jobs. And if that does, it'd be nice. But for the most part, I'm gonna keep this schedule. I don't like sticking to schedules because historically I'm just bad at dealing with it when I self-manage those. But excuse me. For the sake of overall time management, I think it's time for me to start sticking with it. But yes, we're gonna keep that weekly schedule as the permanent one for the time being. I imagine that will last us pretty much through the winter, unless there's anything else super drastic. And if it does change, chances are it'll be in the event of more streams than less. But yeah, that'll be the schedule moving forward. I'll try to make sure it's more readily available to y'all, so that people can see it more, because I want more people to be aware of it. It's going to be a while before I guess that's properly oriented in things, but all good. So that said, I'm gonna call it here. I think I'm gonna just wrap things up here. Damn, I think it's tired. But thank y'all so much for coming through today. I really appreciate y'all as always. Thank you so much for your support. Thank y'all so much for just chilling with me, man. That's the whole vibe I wanted to create here. Yeah, what's good, Bobby? You missed me. I'm about to lead this motherfucker. But it's all good. So that's it. I'm going to be back tomorrow, and as according to the schedule, we'll be back with our regularly scheduled gameplay. We're going to see what we can do to bring Athenian Rhapsody closer to a close. As mentioned before, I want to try to finish the core pacifist route of that game and leave the 46 gifted. Yeah, Indovan Strat, man, fucking crazy. And I'm going to leave the lullaby route of that game to a if enough interest builds up over the VODs for that game over time, because that game is still in its early stages of popularity, so it's going to be a while before I guess that gets people poking in and be like, hey, who's this thing, who's that thing? So I'd rather wait for that to come through. But I do think is can't wait for that. Honestly, A-Rabbit insane for well, you can't wait for tomorrow, or can't wait for me to do the Geno route on that, because I feel like I am very curious as to what extent the game's going to shift up in doing the alternate route, but I want there to be more eyes on that when I do that. I want people that actually like are fucking with this game as it grows to be like, oh hey, who's this nigga that plays it? And how has he not done the other thing yet? Yeah, like I want to see if I can create that dynamic. All right, I want to see y'all. I mean, I'm there for it, but yeah. I mean, I know, but like I'm saying, like I want a gang in there, you know? It's I think it'll be a good way to divvy it up, you know? And then plus I want to get to the next game, so I'm not good enough, I get it. Shut up! Oh my god. Alright, I'm gonna raid home. I want to call it a night. But y'all take it easy. Thank y'all so much for coming through. I'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see y'all niggas then. Take it easy.